It's time for Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Quick pitch to Walter, looking for the record, cuts back, he's got it, he's out of it at 25 and the 26-yard line. Walter Payton becomes the National Football League all-time leading rusher.
Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship.
Chicago has won the Stanley Cup. Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it, go to Rizzo.
It's in time, and the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to Shawn and Maya in the morning on this TGI Mickey Ficky Friday. It's the weekend, baby, and I am fired the freak up. Man, I had a kick-ass workout this morning at CrossFit Warehouse. I'm telling you, at 5 a.m. Man, Charlie, that wore me out, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized, and I'm ready to talk to you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn Sierra. And listen, if you're watching this on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. Now, make sure that you follow us on Facebook. Go to SportsZone Chicago. Okay, like that page. Go to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Like that page also. Now, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, excellent. Okay, do me a huge favor. Do me a solid. How about that? Do me a solid, eh? Go to YouTube. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go to YouTube and type in SportsZone Chicago. Okay, and press click subscribe. Okay. Now, if you're watching this on our app, even more excellent. All right, listen, wherever you get your apps from, okay, type in SportsZone Chicago and download SportsZone Chicago. You can take us with you on a go. Not only will you be able to catch Shawn and Maya in the morning 3 times a week, but we have 4 other live shows throughout the week, and you can take us with you on the go. Now, you can also tweet the show. You can tweet us at SM_mornings or at SportsZone Shy. That's CHI at SportsZone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me, personally online, want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. Want to know what I did? Here's what I did. I made it nice and easy for you, folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, the Snapper. All one handle at The Shawn Sierra. If you want to follow my lovely co-host, Maya Akai, you can follow her on Facebook and Twitter at The Sports Chica. If you want to follow her on Instagram, because you do it just for the gram, then just follow her at Maya_Akai. It's MAYA_AKAI. Listen, I want to say what's up and bring him on. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention my man, the man who makes it run all smoothly and shit. He is our super producer. He's the man behind the curtain, the Wiz, but I like to call him my Puerto Rican Swiss Army knife, Ivan Vargas. Ivan, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Am I good?
No, yeah, you're low, but you're good.
Good? All right, perfect. No, I'm good, Shawn. Good morning. It's a beautiful morning out. Cubs won yesterday. Swept the New York Mets, so I'm happy about that. But
Okay.
still like Javi, bro. Jesus, man. Like look, you knew what he was gonna throw. You knew what was coming. And even 4 or 5 feet off the plate, Javi was swinging at it. And it just, I know he had a grand slam. I know he scored the winning run, but that's not because he got on bases, because, you got a runner starting at second now in innings. So guess who the last out was? Swinging, Javi Baez. So he was on second, came into third, and ended up scoring on that single by Jason Hayward. But hey, I'll take the win. I need Javi to step up a little bit more. Figure it out, dude. Figure it out, because you could have hit that shit with an oar.
Oh, man. Leave it to Ivan, man. He gets fired up over his Cubs, just the way I get fired up over my White Sox and every other team in the city except for his team. That team. Yeah, that one. Listen, guys, we have a phenomenal show, but we need you to get interactive. Man, we got people tuning in already. I love it. All right, listen, and wherever you're watching this from, do us a favor. We want you to get interactive with us. So wherever you're watching it, whatever platform you're watching it on, do us a favor. You ready? Leave a question or comment right there on the platform that you're watching. Leave a question or comment. It'll come here, and our super producer, Ivan, we will get it up on the screen for you. Okay, we can talk about it. If it's a question or it's a comment, again, we like to get you. We like to get our fans interactive in participating in the show as it's going on. All right. Listen, when I say we have a great show, I am not full jiving. At 10 o'clock, Aldo Soto from the On Tap Sports Net. He's going to call in. He's going to talk a little Cubs. So, Ivan, we have another. You commiserate with another Cubs guy.
I saw that on the rundown. I saw Aldo was coming out. I was like, oh, awesome, because I have some questions for Aldo about what's going on with some of these bats. And I know they've been stepping up lately, but there's still some looming questions.
Okay. So, it'll help. Ivan will probably take over that interview, and that's fine. I'll just sit back and while he talks Cubs. No. But no, I'll be in that conversation as well. But Ivan definitely has some questions, and we're going to get those answered, hopefully, with Aldo Soto today. And then at 11 o'clock, our guy. You know what it is every Friday, 11 o'clock, our guy, the man, the myth, the legend, DDP himself, the draft doctor, Phil Toshin, comes on, and we're going to talk Bears. The draft is next week. There is a lot more buzz, a lot more excitement getting as the draft draws closer. Are we going to get an lineman? Are we going to trade up for a quarterback? What about a receiver? A lot. And we've talked to Phil last week, but now there's more rumors out there. So we're going to see what he's hearing and what he's thinking as the draft draws closer. So 11 o'clock, per usual, our guy, the draft doctor himself, Phil Toshin. Well, guys, you know how we do. The first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
Just when you want it.
Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
The Top of the Morning segment is powered by the Chicago Crusader newspaper. And unfortunately, he can only come on with us on Wednesdays now, but our guy, Joseph Phillips, unable to join us.
I know. I'm sorry to those who got excited to see Joseph's face. I mean, I know I did to see Joseph's face on the intro, but yeah, he won't be here today.
You know what? It's funny because I like seeing what he's going to wear. Does he have his paperboy hat? Does he have his DJ D Nice hat? All right. Does he have a baseball hat? Is he not wearing a hat at all? Does he have a Cosby sweater on? All right. It's always a crapshoot with him, and it's always interesting to see. And with Joseph, you just never know, and it's always fun. Always fun. Well, listen, man, Marshawn, what's up, Papa? TGI, Mickey Ficky Friday feeling, peeps. What's up, baby? It is a good Friday. I'm excited about it. See, I didn't even shave. That's how crazy it was, man. You know what? I know we're going to go top of the morning. I didn't even. Here's my deal. So I got a few bags under my eyes, all right? Because, dude, how many times has this happened to you? And it may be different now that you have a kid, but I fell asleep on top of the covers last night. I fell asleep on top of the covers, the light on. Okay. That's an uncomfortable sleep. When the light is on, you're on top of the covers. I wasn't even full. I still have my sweats on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I still have my sweats on. I'm on top and then I woke up at 4 o'clock for CrossFit. Mm-hmm. And it's just one of those one of those things. Have you ever fallen asleep on top of the covers?
Bro, I've fallen asleep since I've had my daughter. I've fallen asleep on top of countless stuffed animals, a few toys, a bunch of legs. I don't know. I had her sleep on my face one night. My wife found us like that. So I mean, I've had a lot of experiences sleeping in awkward, weird positions and places. So
okay,
I feel you. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here, but I'm over here like, okay, all right, bro. Like you fell on top, like that's it one time. Like I'm over here bent out of shape. Like I don't know what to do. I'm stretching every 5 minutes in between segments.
That's funny. So my good friend of mine, she had a child later in life. She was in her mid-40s. She just had a baby boy, and I was talking to her yesterday because I set up time to go down and I was supposed to go see him yesterday, but I had to come see the furnace guy. Our furnace was out, was acting stupid. It needed a flame. What the hell was it called? A flame monitor or something, whatever. Anyway. Is a flame something or other. So I needed that. So I couldn't go see. I was supposed to go see him yesterday, but I didn't get the chance to go see him. And I'm telling you, Ivan, you might relate to this. She said this is her first weekend. Now, mind you, she had him last year. He's a little over a year old. And he is flame sensor. That's what it was, a flame sensor. No, not the pilot, the flame sensor. Sub Swaz, Big Z. So she had him late. So she's excited. Okay. Because this is her first weekend away from him. She said, I am getting a hotel room and I am going to sleep. She said, this dude goes to sleep. You know, she tries to put him to bed. She said, he's such a boy. He's aggressive. He throws things. He hits her. He kicks her, and that's when he's asleep. And when he's awake, he said he's a very aggressive young man. And like, yeah, that's how we are. We're boys. That's how we do. But yeah, she said he takes over the whole bed, and it's just her and him in the bed. And she's got a king size bed, and she said she can't move anywhere because wherever she moves, there he goes. And he's
look, bro,
foot's in her. He said her foot's in her nose.
Look, I don't know if you can see. It's gone now, but there was a bruise like about this big, right? About that big. It was my daughter's heel. She kicked the shit out of me while I woke up, bro. It was black and blue. If I got like tackled or something really, really hard, it is something like black and blue. If I got punched in my arm, she kicked the shit out of my arm while I was sleeping. And yeah, man, she does it. She does that shit all the time. Like it's a pain in the ass. You got to teach him to get the hell away, and that's what I'm trying to do now. Like sleep in your own bed. But she, she is, and with my wife, she's like, all right, that's enough crying. Come here, baby.
Yeah, so my friend is excited because she gets to go away and sleep, like literally and sleep, like not have to worry about, a heel to your bicep, a knee to your nose, a punch to your eye. She's just looking forward to really just getting some sleep, and it's just funny. It's interesting. But it's funny how parents with newborns and in young kids, they all have the same story. That they just need rest. But that's funny. But let's get back to it. Back to the top of the morning, and we'll start off with your people. Your people, Ivan, the Cubs. The Cubs beat the Mets yesterday 4-3 in 10 innings in extras. Trevor Williams got the start for the Cubs. He went 5 innings, 5 hits. 2 runs, both earned a walk and 6 punch-outs before he left the game. RBIs were by Wilson Contreras, his 10th. Chris Bryant doubled in 2, giving him 12 RBIs for the season. And Jason Hayward, Jason Hayward, you see the highlights coming up here. Jason Hayward is the hero of the game. You talked about it goes to extras. Here's Chris Bryant doubling a run. Who was that? Oh, that's one of
Pete Alonso, the polar bear dude. That guy he could hit towering shots, man.
Yeah, he can, and he showed yesterday. But they finally went to 10, and Jason Hayward with the walk off hit puts the Cubs gets the Cubs the victory 4-3 yesterday, and they sweep the series between the Mets. And that's huge. That's really, really huge. That's important for this team because they're trying to get their rhythm. They're trying to find some consistency, and they hadn't been able to. So you sweep a series, and it doesn't matter who you're playing, the top team, the worst team. You sweep a series, you're sitting pretty. You got a lot of momentum, and you're going to need it. You're hosting the Brewers this weekend. Up at Wrigley. Both teams are home this weekend. It's going to be nice. both teams. So you're hosting your division rival, and you got to go to work, and you're coming in with a little bit of momentum. So right now, Milwaukee is a team. They're atop the division. They're 2 games ahead. So it's not a dire series because it's the beginning, but it's still an important series. If you can take 2 out of 3, you'll be 1 back. Okay, if you take all 3, you'll be 1 up. But it's going to be a really good series, really fun, really exciting series up at Wrigley this weekend.
Yeah, I really hope so, man. Because you know what, like, I feel like the Cubs are. I feel like they're heating up. I don't want to get my hopes up because like I said, we have this Jekyll and Hyde type of Cubs situation where it's like, all right, they did well this series, and then the next series they could go lay an egg. You know what I'm saying? Like I point to that Braves situation that in 2 games they went from 13 runs you scored to 13 runs given up and only 4 runs scored, and it's in a blink of an eye. And that's the Cubs that I know them for the past few years. Post I would say 17, post 17, but hey, the good series, the good series win. I liked how the bats came alive. I liked how the bullpen looked. Kimbrel looked great yesterday. That was one of the. I would say that was one of the times where I was like, man, I feel totally comfortable with Craig on the mound right now. I feel like these guys aren't going to get a damn thing. And sure enough, it was just that. He was on fire. I know we talked about trades, and it's like we said, we're still early, but from what we saw the past couple of years, that's where my fear of where this team could go, lies. It's just it could get really bad really quick. I just hope it doesn't go that way. I hope these guys break out of whatever slump that they've been in, and the bats come alive again. The pitching needs to be there, and it was pretty good yesterday. I thought it was pretty good yesterday.
Here's what I like about this. Here's what I like about this sweep. You weren't satisfied with, winning the series. Okay. A lot of times when you take the first 2 games of a series, you ease up, like, all right, we got the series win, because the main thing is you want to win every series. All right. And once you've secured that, a lot of times you take your foot off the gas pedal, and you didn't yesterday. You and your boys didn't do that. All right. They fought, they battled, and win. And it would have been very easy to do that, to take your foot off the gas pedal, knowing you have the series and resting for this big series against the first place Milwaukee Brewers. It would have been extremely, extremely easy to do that. And sometimes it probably have in the past, but that's not what we saw. That's not the way it transpired yesterday. Okay. The way it transpired is you fought till the end. You didn't worry about who you were playing on Friday. Okay. Because Friday was not yesterday. You worried about the team that was on the field across from you, and that was the New York Mets. You went for the sweep, you went for the jugular, and you got it. Mentally, for me, I think that's a huge, huge boost for this Cubs team. Okay, and people might not see it that way, but let me explain something to you. The psyche of athletes is a complicated one. And again, as I said, the ability for them to check out after winning 2 games and having the series won, and saying, hey, that's all right. Well, the last one doesn't really matter. Let's worry about the Brewers. We got the Brewers tomorrow. It's very easy. It's very easy to get that complacent, and they didn't. And my hats go off to your manager, okay, Grandpa Rossi, David Ross, for getting those guys in the right frame of mind. And my hat goes off to the captains, the Rizzos, the Bryants, and even the Baez. Like, hey, listen, we need a sweep. All right, we need a sweep. It's not dire, but when you start finishing, and that's the one thing, finish. When we start finishing series, when you have people down, and that's the mentality that you have, and that's going to go from series then to games, and it's going to go to later innings where, okay, we're down or we're up 3 or 4 runs, we don't let them come back. Okay, you putting your foot on someone's neck, no pun intended. Especially with the the Chauvin case or anything, but you do not let up. Okay, you keep the pressure on and show people, because once you start easing up, these are professional players too. Okay, there's more than enough times we've seen teams come back from 2 runs, 3 runs, 4 runs down in the 7th and 8th and 9th innings, or 8th and 9th inning, or even the 9th inning. Okay, but when you nip that in the bud and show them that there's no chance for them to come back, psychologically for you, it shows you that you can turn up the heat when necessary, and it shows your opponents that wow, when they have a lead and we're trying to come back, they're going to stifle it because we've seen it over and over again.
Right, and that's kudos to the bullpen and what they've been doing, and the pitching. I mean, like I said, the pitching has been pretty decent, pretty good. I have really not that many complaints with the pitching from what was coming in, but the hitting, it's simply been the hitting still. I know like I said, I know Chris Bryant's looking a little better. Like I mentioned that before. Javi, though, you're in the middle of the lineup for a reason, man. Like, we need you to start connecting on stuff, and I'm not talking about long home run grand slams in a trash game. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about consistently hitting, at least getting on base. Like Javi could do multiple things right now. I just feel like he's like one track minded. Like he wants to hear the roar of the crowd nonstop so it could get him fired up. Like it just feels like he's pressing, and he's pressing so hard that he's just out of in a funk. You know how that shit goes.
Yeah.
Slump could be forever. Like what was that? Chris Davis. Look at Chris Davis from the Baltimore Orioles. The guy was like, he had 50 home runs one year, and then he couldn't even buy a hit for a couple of years. Like it was that tragic. But like I hope it doesn't get that drastic. But I mean, I'll just say this: when you're in a funk, like sometimes like everything and anything is affecting you. And I don't know, Javi's got to get out of that. You can tell he's frustrated. You can tell he cares. I'm not saying that he cares. My frustrations in my thoughts are based on like what the Cubs didn't do and what we're looking at in the future. I'm still here in the present, but the present is showing me that Javi Baez is pressing. Javi with the video, even with the fans in the stands, Javi's still pressing. What's the problem now? I don't want to I don't want to continue to make excuses for the guy. Like it maybe, are you comfortable here in Chicago? Is it maybe you have to get a change of scenery? I don't know. It's like I said, this year is going to be time for the Cubs.
But it happens to everybody, dude. It's going to happen to everybody. It's going to happen, and his slump and his struggles just happen to come early when it was a very inopportune time for them to come. Now, if they had come in July,
though, Shawn, his swing, like his approach to the plate is not good. It's not look. It's great when he hits a home run, right? It's great. But when you're in a critical situation, Javi, you're swinging out of your shoe. You're corkscrewing literally into the dirt, and nothing, and we're getting nothing out of it. Like that's a problem.
Yeah, I do think he's pressing. I said that last week or 2 weeks ago. I think he's pressing. I think he feels the need to have a big season. I think he really wants to. You're talking about a contract year for somebody. And this guy was a league MVP runner-up. Okay, he'd been in the conversation for a couple of seasons. Now he's at the end of it, and he's coming off a bad season. Now he's trying to hit 4 or 5 run home runs, and he just can't do that with nobody on base. I mean, he needs to get back. He needs to. You talked about his approach. It's more of his. Well, I guess it's his approach, but his mindset. He's got to start taking the ball opposite field. He's got to hear. He's going to have to bunt once in a while to try and get. Because what will happen is once he gets on. Now you can be a demon on the base paths, and you can be a nuisance to the pitcher. And the thing about it is, here's the thing that a lot of players don't embrace. When you're as talented as a Javi Baez, as a Chris Bryant, as a Wilson Contreras, okay, you can affect the game a lot more than just hitting home runs. Okay, you can affect the game. Your defense is one, and we know Javi's got stellar Gold Glove defense. But 2, getting on base and running the base paths. Okay. But to get on base, you need to be disciplined. To get on base, if you can't buy a hit, then you're going to need to bunt. Okay. And bunting is such a lost art. And bunting is one of the best ways to get out, to get rid of or break a slump that you're in. Okay. Because it gets you on base. The elephant in the room, or the refrigerator gets lifted off your shoulders because now you're on base. How you got there, it didn't matter. Okay, it didn't matter. The ball went, 15, 30 feet somewhere in there, and you beat out the throw, or the throw gets thrown, is off. Didn't matter. Now you're on base. That gives you confidence because now when you're on base, you can steal. These are all the little things that when you're not going well, you have to change things up. You have to change things up. And Javi, because he's a home run hitter, okay, he's a power bat. A lot of times those power bats don't want to bunt, and they think it's silly. But you know what? Getting on base by any means necessary is not silly.
Javi does that. I mean, Javi will do that. But like, I need to correct myself. Javi struck out before his last at bat. He struck out ugly. I think it was a slider. It might have been the last one. But either way, there was a play where Javi, he got wood on it. It was a pop up into the outfield, shallow outfield. Falls down. Javi's not running hard out of the box. Javi's more focused on damn it, I missed. I'm out again. Wasn't focused on coming out of the box, or else he could have been on 2. And on top of that, was lollygagging around the bag enough to where the second baseman Villar could almost throw his ass out at first. Javi, you gotta get in the game. Whatever's in your head, you gotta fix it. Like whatever's in Javi's head is really messing with him. That's that type of crap. At least if Javi was struggling before, you wouldn't see that lazy ass shit on the bag. You wouldn't see him, talking to himself the way he does. Now it's like that. That was dangerous. That could have been it. That could have been all the momentum the Mets needed to go ahead and take it into the 10th and win the game. But he got lucky.
This is where your manager comes in. This is where David Ross needs to come in and say, "Hey, listen, I understand you're struggling, but that struggling should not affect your hustle. Struggling should not affect the way you play the game." Okay. What do I talk about yesterday? I talk about the process. Okay. When you're struggling, now you really go back to the basics. You go back to the process. Okay. What did I do? I need to make sure that I'm watching my film. I need to make sure I'm taking my proper at bats in the on deck circle. I need to do everything the same and really focus on the fundamentals when I'm struggling. Okay. And if those aren't working, then you're going to have to change something. But it shouldn't affect the way I run the bases. It shouldn't affect my defense. I have to keep those. I have to be able to compartmentalize and say, "Hey, listen, that's offense. This is defense. I need to do this. That's offense. Okay, that's at the plate. I got to run the bases." There are so many different things that ways that you can affect the game, and when it starts creeping into those, and you're right, and if it does affect it, what if he does get thrown out at first? Because we don't know what a blue pop single can mean. It can mean the beginning of a big inning, and you don't do that because of the fact that you decided not to run. So you took your team, you almost took your team out of a chance for a big inning. We don't know that because he actually was safe, but this is something that you just can't do. And I understand you're frustrated. I understand you're a home run hitter. I understand you're a former MVP runner-up. I get it. But it shouldn't affect your hustle. And that's where Ross has to come in as a manager and say, "Stop this shit. Okay, I know you're mad, but on the base pass, when that ball's hit up, you know as well as anybody, the wind at Wrigley, okay, can blow a ball at the last second. And especially a high pop-up, you need to run that shit out and end up on second to start a big inning."
Look, I'll say this. Remember Manny being Manny. We talked about this before, right? Javi being Javi. We love all that shit when he's performing, when he's hitting. But when he's struggling and when it's costing the team, you could see that love affair with the fans fade away. You know what I'm saying? We kind of saw it with Manny in Boston. People got tired of the crap. He ended up leaving. I mean, it was a great player for him, no doubt, but he ended up leaving towards the end. Like, I don't want Javi to just become that. I don't want Javi to just be like, "All right, I'm Javi's doing Javi because he's having fun and everything like that," and then he's struggling at the plate. Let's figure that out. Like, let's figure out your approach before we go ahead and just let Javi be Javi and love him for being that lovable, fun, energetic guy that he is. But, geez, bro, like I said, an aura, Shawn. The slider, he could have said, "Hey, slider outside," and he still would have swung at it. It's insane to see every day, game in, game out. Javi will have these at bats with runners out, with nobody on when we need something going. Nothing. It's boom or bust, and that's got to change. It has to change, or the Cubs are going to have to change it.
Listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we have more top of the morning topics. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Hi, this is George Iceman Gervin. I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
012.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
The pitch to Hayward. Base hit to right, Cubs win. Jason Hayward drives in the winning run with a sharp ground ball into right field. Javier Baez comes in to score, and the Cubs have swept the New York Mets.
The call on Cubs radio in the bottom of the 10th. 4-3 the win over the Mets on Thursday. The Cubs are back to 500 at 9-9. 120 first pitch today against the Brewers at home. It was a day off for the White Sox. They open up a series at home tonight against the Texas Rangers. NBA, the Bulls over the Hornets 108-91. Thaddeus Young, Kobe White, Nikola Vucevic each with 18 points. Vucevic with a double-double. Another crucial matchup tonight for the Blackhawks against the Predators at United Center. Chicago is 3 points behind the Preds in the standings. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
This week at Macy's, save on the comfiest lineup. Update your relax at home and on the go rotation with 20 to 40% off select loungewear for him and her. And refresh your space and prep for warmer nights ahead with great deals on cozy bedding basics. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift card services and fees. Sign up today at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Bye-bye. Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Oh, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. This is the next top of the morning topic. The Bulls. Wow, big win yesterday for the Bulls against a team that they needed to destroy, and they did. The Bulls beat the Cleveland Cavaliers 118-91 over on the west side. Bulls were led by Nikola Vucevic. He had 18 points and 12 boards. Nikola Vucevic, Kobe White, and Thaddeus Young. To borrow a phrase from Stacy, Thaddeus Johnson. Each had 18 points. Okay. Excellent. The Bulls have been playing very well on defense, as their 3 of the last 4 opponents have been held under 100 points. Kobe White had another game without a turnover. Let me tell you something. That's huge. That's really, really, really huge. With it, here you go, Satoransky early on in the game with a 3-pointer, and Vooch. I'm telling you, Vooch. The thing that I liked about it is the fact that guys stepped up. Okay, with Zach LaVine's 28 points out of the lineup, people have to pick up the slack, and it's got to be a team effort. Look at Satoransky here with a dunk on somebody's head. Watch yourself. Meet me at the rim, and don't be late, like Stacy says. And here's the thing: you can't ask people to do more than they're capable of. You can ask them to step up. Don't get me wrong, okay? But the 28 points is going to have to come from maybe 6 or 7 more points from Kobe White, 6 or 8 more points from Nikola Vucevic. All right, 3 to 5 more points from Thaddeus Young. Okay, Satoransky is going to have to contribute as well. That's going to have to be made up throughout the team. But the best way to help cover that gap is to play defense. Okay, make more stops. And the Bulls did a phenomenal job of that yesterday. And watching them, they're such an enigma. Okay, because there's games like this, and now mind you, Cleveland was without a couple of players, and that's fine. But you know what? No one cares, because if the Bulls are without players, you still get a win or a loss. Okay, and you play the best, play who's on the court, and whether or not it's a top team, one of the top teams in the conference, one of the top teams in the NBA, or whether it's a team that's right around your level, or if it's a team that's way beneath you, you still just you have to respect the opponent and play to your ability, and that's what they did yesterday. And I appreciated those guys and the effort that they put forward, because after the stinker they had last week, it was horrible. What did I say? The Pacers? I'm in Charlotte. That's right. Thanks, Swazo, Charlotte, because they had that horrible loss to the. So this is for me. I'm happy. I'm happy with the win, but now I need to see consistency. For me, I need to see these guys to make up this Zach LaVine thing. I want to see Sato get more aggressive. Okay, I want to see this offense run through Vooch. And how many times have I said this? At least 4 times I've said this. This offense needs to run through Vooch, and it doesn't matter when Zach LaVine comes back. Okay, it still has to run through Vooch. But this offense, now that he's gone for the time being, it's imperative that this offense runs through Vooch. Get people moving off the ball because he's a phenomenal passer. Opens up the floodgates opens up a lot of lanes for Patrick Williams to cut behind the basket, or a Kobe White, or a Satoransky, or a Lauri Markkanen. These guys moving without the ball, he'll find you. Okay, Nikola will find you, and that's the great thing about having an all-star center is. Once he realizes he's getting double teamed and we have an open man and they're cutting to the hole, they're cutting to the basket, he'll find you, he'll hit you, and that's an easy layup and possibly an and one. So I hope you're listening, and I know they know this, but they just have to run that offense through Vooch. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it because if you don't, you're going to be spinning your wheels, and that's going to be horrible. And it's a nice victory. Nice victory over Charlotte because you're traveling to Miami for 2 games, and some guy named Jimmy Buckets is down there, and you need to start stacking wins. The season's coming to an end quickly; it's wrapping up, and you can't afford to lose to teams that you should be beating, and you're going to have to start beating some teams that are probably better than you right now. Okay, you're going to have some really, really good games. Okay. You're going to need some really, really good games to finish out the season if you want to get in the playoffs. Okay, I think it's important for the Bulls to get to the playoffs. I think it's important for them for these youngsters, especially people like Patrick Williams and Kobe White, to get this playoff experience. And if you get there, you experience a different type of intensity. You experience playoff basketball. And we'll say it. We'll not joke, but we'll allude to and say, hey, you're in the playoffs now because you got to win every game. And for all intents and purposes, that's true. However, the intensity in the playoffs, in the postseason, is different. It's different.
I'm happy with how they're, especially Kobe White, and he credited Mo Cheeks for that. But I'm happy the way that they're playing without Zach because you're going to need that camaraderie between them. Like, if you could trust that Zach can be out for a couple minutes here and there to get him some rest, and they can hold it down. They've gotten their, they've gelled a little bit. The other guys have gelled. I'm like, that's a good thing. That's a plus if you're going into the playoffs, or at least you're trying to make this push into the playoffs. But when Zach comes back, it's all going to be different. I feel like if Zach. When Zach comes back healthy, this Bulls team, with the way that they're playing and the way that Kobe White's playing, it's gonna be a little bit different. I think they're gonna play a little bit better. This is a process, and I hate saying that because Philadelphia beat that word to death. But the process is they're gonna grow. They're not gonna force anything here, and I talked about that with you and Maya before. I think that what their mind is if they make the playoffs, awesome. But they're going to go ahead and try to develop their team and try to find out who's going to work well together moving forward before they go ahead and try to press for some 1 year, 1 year glory. You know what I'm saying? Like just to say we made it to the playoffs. I think that's where their mindset is right now. They have a young team, a bunch of guys that can, potentially be very, very good together. Why force it?
And they're just growing. And that's, this is the thing about them. It's frustrating. You see feast, you see famine, and growth is not linear. To borrow a phrase from your guy Theo Epstein, growth isn't linear. All right, it's you have a good game, you have a bad game, you have 2 good games, you have a bad game, you have 2 good games, you have 2 bad games, you have a good game, you have a stinker. It's all part of the process, and it's a frustrating part, but it's still part of the process. And we still got to remember. I mean, Do you want the Bulls to make the playoffs? Do you want them to get in, get the playoffs, and have a lower seed, or do you or do you want them to miss the playoffs and get a higher pick in the draft?
They'll have to pray that they get that top 4 protected. But I mean, it's. I want development. I want to see.
So you want them in the playoffs?
If they make the playoffs, awesome. Then obviously you're seeing an improvement. But right now where they stand, they're going to have to win a string of games, and they're going to have to be consistent and play well in those games to do it. And I just, without Zach right now, it's nice, beating the Hornets, but without Zach, I don't know if you could make that type of a run. But I just feel like if they can find themselves in the play-in, hey, who knows? Let it be. Let's see it. They're not going to get a pick under 4 anyway. So why not? I just don't want them. I don't want them trying to bite too much. I say bite off more than they can chew. Be who you are. You don't have the bench. They just and that's facts in my opinion. They don't have the bench to make a deep playoff run. The Bulls are probably going to get beat if they do make the playoffs. If they do win the playoff or the play-in and they get into a series, I think they're going to get beat. And that's just me. But and that's because of the bench. But I feel like they have the starters.
You don't think they have a good enough bench to take it?
I don't think they have a good enough bench. I don't think they have a good enough bench. No.
What do you think they're missing? Because the bench is a team the bench is a unit for me that's been holding them in for a lot of the games. Against the unit that's been closing gaps. They've been extending leads. They've been, and there was a stretch early that the starters were actually not playing and scoring as many points as the bench. So
who are you grooming? Are we talking about Kobe White? Are we talking about Lowry? Aren't those supposed to be starters? Aren't those guys supposed to be our starters? Like I said, they got moved down to bench roles. Yeah, they're making runs, but who are they making runs against? Against better teams, they're not going to make those runs. Those runs are going to get shut down. I feel like you have a good guy in Temple. I feel like you got to move on from Valentine, even though I kind of like him. You know what I mean? Maybe add another big in there. I think Lowry's on his way out. I do.
I'm liking a bench mob, dude. I like this second unit. You got Tice. You got
Tice might as well just be the be starting next to Vooch.
He's not. He's going to be. You want him there, but he's not.
I like
he's not going to be the starter. He's going to be. He's coming off the bench. He's coming off the bench for Kobe. Once Zach is back and Kobe gets run, you get Denzel Valentine. You have Lowry's back in the. No, Lowry's not in the starting lineup. So there's a couple of different. Let's see who started yesterday. Tice, Williams, Vucevic, Temple, and White. Yeah, marketing.
Tice plays well with Vooch and next to him. Like I said, he started. Tice started the game, unlike Lowry. Lowry's on his way out. The bench is going to be flipped, or at least some pieces are going to be moved. You have to find another shooter. You have to find another shooter. I don't think you have a trusted shooter coming off that bench. Kobe could do it, but Kobe's very streaky.
Yeah, he's got to work more. He has to get more consistent. He's a scorer, and he's got to get more consistent. If you're a scorer, you're going to have to work on that jump shot. You're going to have to get that to the point where people are afraid when you shoot. It's not. You're not going to get to the point where when you shoot like a Steph or a Clay or a Damian, you're like, oh man, you just roll your eyes because 9 out of 10 times it's going in. But he's got to get him. He's got to shoot much better from behind the three. And not that he's bad, but I need him to be a 40 plus behind the arc, because once that happens and people are going to be flying at him, he's going to be able to pump fake, go around them, get to the hole. Now you can really create and facilitate, because if once he goes to the hole, people are going to have to collapse on him. Then he can dish the ball to whoever's man collapsed and try to fill that lane. So Kobe's got to do a much better job of that. But he's young, dude. A kid just turned 21. Again, it's not, growth is not linear. All right, you're seeing certain areas for Kobe where he's improving. If you look in his last 5 games, according to NBC Sports Chicago from last night, in his last 5 games, he's got 32 assists and only 7 turnovers. 7. That's 1 plus. That's less than 2 turnovers a game for a point guard. That's phenomenal.
And that didn't happen until he got moved to the bench. So maybe Lowry could find his rhythm. I don't know. Maybe he could find where he fits. I don't know. I think for better or worse, you should move on, or at least try to get something from him. But that's just me. Kobe White, like, give him all the credit in the world. Like, he's developed. Like, we talked about it early in the season. We're like, I don't know if Kobe could even be the point guard. Or we were talking about even Kobe maybe moving on. You know what I'm saying? But look at the development. Look at what he's done. Him and Mo Cheeks together have done to his game. Like, they've made him more consistent, less turnovers. He still has his scoring ability. I just, like I said, I'm happy with where things are going. Just if they make the playoffs, awesome. If they don't, I'm still looking forward to this Bulls team. I'm still looking forward to what they could do in the future with the way that they performed this year as compared to the years before with that shit show that they had. So for me, like you said, I'm if they make the playoffs, awesome. But if they don't, I'm not going to be too hard. Like, I'm not going to be too pissed off. I'm going to be looking forward to what they're going to do in the offseason and the year after.
I'm okay. I want them to make the playoffs. I'm not worried about the draft pick. I want them to make the playoffs. I really want this team to gel. All right. Because if you don't make the playoffs, then you're not getting playoff basketball. You're not getting that experience. Now you got to wait another year for that. Give me that experience as soon as possible. I need Patrick Williams at 19 years old to feel that intensity, the change in intensity. I need Kobe White at 20 or 21 to feel that change in intensity and to understand. I need these young guys, even Lowry. I need them to feel and see and experience playoff basketball, because once you play at that level, you're like, holy sheesh, we can turn it up a notch in the regular season. Maybe not to playoff level, but we see. I'm telling you, the difference in intensity goes from here to here. Okay, now for the Bulls, if they can get their intensity in the regular season up somewhere in between those two, that's better for the Bulls, and they're going to see that, because if the best way for them to experience that is if they get blown out. Okay, and they get blown out because you're like, holy cow. This was something that just blew our minds. We had no idea. Well, guess what? Welcome to the big leagues.
That's why I said that playing game. I mean, like I said, if that's going to be crucial to if they could even make it. If they, let's say they slide. Hopefully they don't slide and they actually get into one of those playing games. But that's going to be a test. Like, that's going to be tough. Like a one and done game. Like, you know what I'm saying? With that type of intensity. I don't know if the Bulls are ready for that. Like, we're talking about legit the first time one and done, or at one, play a win and you're in type of approach. Like I said, I don't know if the Bulls are built for that.
Well, let's move on. The next top of the morning topics: the White Sox. Okay, the White Sox start a 9-game homestand with the Texas Rangers tonight. First of a 3-game set with them, and very, very interesting. Today's a game you're definitely going to want to check out. You're definitely going to want to check out this the night tonight. Dylan Cease is on the bump for the White Sox, and he's taking on Dane Dunning. All right, Dane Dunning was traded from the White Sox to the Texas Rangers in the Lance Lynn trade, and many people, Maya included,
Maya's screaming right now.
Maya wanted Dylan Cease gone as opposed to Dunning, but you can't just have it your way, and like, we're going to give you who we want. And like, if people are giving you quality, like, Lance Lynn's a stud. Lance Lynn is an innings eater. He's a horse. Okay. And you just can't give him whoever you want. They're going to say, okay, well, we'll give you this guy, but we want this person. You don't get to choose who we want. Okay. We're going to decide who we're going to take, in order for you to get Lance Lynn. And, I know Maya was upset, as a lot of other Sox fans were upset. They're like, we should have kept Dane Dunning and not Dylan Cease. Well, it's not how it works. You just don't get to do that because you don't make all the rules. You need a dance partner, and
I think Maya secretly has a Texas Rangers Dane Dunning jersey.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think she did. I wouldn't doubt if she popped up, like, took a picture and just was like Dunning on the back with the Rangers logo. No, I somewhere she's going nuts right now, because that was her boy.
It was, and Dane Dunning's a stud, dude. He's a stud, and but you got to give to get, because Lance Lynn is an innings eater. He's a horse. You've seen him, the opening day, the home opener. He threw a complete game shutout. Like, this dude, and unfortunately for him, he's on the IL right now. But this guy is a guy that you can lean on. We have 3 legit starters if we get into the first round of the playoffs. We have 3 legit starters: Giolito, Keuchel, and Lance Lynn. There's no question marks as to who that number 3 is going to be. We have a number 3, a solid number 3. Let's move on to the next top of the morning topic. The Hawks, they host the Nashville Predators tonight, and some news regarding the captain, Jonathan Toews. He will most likely miss the rest of the season. However, it is anticipated that he will be ready for for next season, the 21-22 NHL season, and we only wish the best. We still don't know what's wrong with the captain, but his health is apparently improving, is what we're hearing, and he'll be ready for next season, the 21-22 season. And let me tell you something: the Blackhawks really miss their captain. You know, they really miss him. They miss him, and when he comes back, he's going to be a big shot in the arm for this team. And if they can make the playoffs without him and get these youngsters more playoff experience, because the sophomores, the second-year players, they have it from last year. Okay, so if we get to the playoffs, it's not going to be new to them. Now the rookies, those are the ones who are going to be a little, I don't want to say shell shock, but they're the ones who are going to have to make the adjustment from regular season hockey to playoff hockey. But what's going to happen is now if we do make the playoffs and now those rookies finally get that experience, and then the captain comes back, well, the captain's coming back to a team for all intents and purposes, because you're going to have new guys, and some guys leave, some guys go, but this whole team's going to have playoff experience. And now we're a little further along, okay, because they're not going to be shell shocked by the intensity, shell shocked by the speed, shell shocked by the physicality that's in playoff hockey. They're going to understand it because they lived it. And I think it's going to do wonders next season for when the captain comes back and is able to, kind of lead the way for this Blackhawks team.
Yeah, it's the same way with the Bulls. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want playoff experience. Like I said, I don't know if they're my issue with them is just I don't think they have the players that are gonna. I don't think they're gonna do it. I don't think they're gonna reach the playoffs this year. But for the Hawks, like you said, look at what they did last game against the Nashville Predators. Down 4-1, coming all the way back. I mean, you got to give them credit. Like, without their captain, they've been playing like pretty good hockey. I know they're kind of middle of the pack, kind of like fighting for a positioning. But like, man, look at the surprise that they brought us this year. We thought they were pretty much dead in the water. We were expecting nothing from the Blackhawks, and they've done this. And to come back from a rival, and we spoke on it. Nashville has whooped the Hawks' ass for a while. Yep. For a while now, and for them to come back from a deficit like that was a state. I would say that was a statement win for Jeremy Colliton and his group. They came back from 3 goals down late to win that game in overtime, and that's playoff type of hockey, dude. Like, you have to have that type of mentality always when it comes to playoff hockey. And I think that this Hawks team, as young as they are, I think they're on their way. I think that they have the right frame of mind to at least push a playoff series. You know what I'm saying? If they get there.
Today's the rubber match, all right? They had a 3-game set. The first one was in Nashville. The next 2 Wednesdays and today's games are here on the west side. So it's the rubber match. If you can win this, you took a little mini series from the Nashville Predators, and it's going to give you a lot of confidence moving forward going into the playoffs because you beat a quality team. You took a mini series, so to speak, from them because that's 3 games in a row. So you talk about that's like playoff hockey when you're playing the same team for minimum 4 games. They make adjustments, you make adjustments, you got to make adjustments off their adjustments, and they do the same. And to have those type of little series that they put. Remember, they had the Panthers in there as well as the Lightning, one of the two. I think I want to say the Lightning with Stamkos. They had a little 3-game set as well, and they got destroyed. Okay, and I let them know that they weren't ready, they weren't up to snuff, and there was a lot of work that needed to be done, a lot of growth that needed to happen. Well, now what's going to happen is that they can win this game tonight. They'll take 2 out of 3 of that little mini series from the Trashville Predators. And moving forward, it's a big shot in the arm. It's a big boost of confidence for this team, and it's damn near. It's really, really necessary right now.
Yeah, and you know what? We talked about that with the Lightning, that Lightning series, and every time they play the Lightning, every time they play Quinville and the Panthers this year, we're kind of watching where every game is almost like a litmus test. You know what I'm saying? It's like, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Who are you this game? Can you have this consistent type of play? Like we've seen before from the old Quinville teams. Can you find a consistent game where all your guys are on the same page? And I know every game is going to be different, but all you guys know what's going on. You have a defense that knows that's not, with their head is up their ass. You have your team, right? That is pretty much what I'm saying. I feel like the Hawks got their team right now, and moving forward, Jeremy Colleton, like I said, Jeremy Colleton is the guy. This is just a big statement win for them that last game, and if they could get this one here and win that mini-series, Shawn, like I said, they're well on their way. Well,
listen, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to welcome our first guest. He covers the Cubs, so Ivan, you're going to be excited for this one. We have two Cubs guys talking, and I may just get off screen and just go grab something to eat, and while you guys. But don't forget, my guy Ken Davis is going to sit with us for the next hour and talk a little sports. So I'll let you and Ken talk Cubs baseball, because how I feel about those people. See, there you go with your nonsense. Hey, guys, Aldo Soto from OnTap Sportsnet coming up next with Cubs Talk. Keep it locked right here on Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Something new. Stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop. Oh, no, that's how rough riders roll.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
The pitch to Hayward. Base set to right, Cubs win. Jason Hayward drives in the winning run with a sharp ground ball into right field. Javier Baez comes in to score, and the Cubs have swept the New York Mets.
The call on Cubs radio in the bottom of the 10th. 4-3 the win over the Mets on Thursday. The Cubs are back to 500 at 9-9. 120 first pitch today against the Brewers at home. It was a day off for the White Sox. They open up a series at home tonight against the Texas Rangers. NBA, the Bulls over the Hornets 108-91. Thaddeus Young, Kobe White, Nikola Vukovic each with 18 points. Vukovic with a double-double. Another crucial matchup tonight for the Blackhawks against the Predators at United Center. Chicago is 3 points behind the Preds in the standings. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
This week at Macy's, save on the comfiest lineup. Update your relax at home and on the go rotation with 20 to 40% off select loungewear for him and her. And refresh your space and prep for warmer nights ahead with great deals on cozy bedding basics. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift card services and fees. Sign up today at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago. Let's bring in my guy who's going to sit with me for the next hour. He's a good friend of the program. He's a valued friend, even though he did go to St. Francis de Sales Catholic League rival, but we overlooked that. That's my guy, man. You can find him on Twitter at That's Davis, and he's the host of the That Davis Show and the new host of the Under Center podcast on NBC Sports Chicago. Man, let's bring him out. Ken Davis. Ken, what's up, Papa? How are you? Ken, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Tricky ass St. Rita.
Shots fired. Catholic Lee, shots fired.
Real fast. St. Rita game. We're sitting in there, 79th Street. We're off of 79th Street. We're sitting in there. Y'all had your little stadium going on, doing it big. I gave you your props. We're looking at these cats like, man, we got them or whatever. All of a sudden, out of the background, we hear, hoo, ha, hoo, ha. Here come the linemen. They had the linemen in the school the whole entire time. We thought the whole team was out there. Tricky ass St. Rita. Mind game St. Rita.
Oh, that's hilarious, dude. That is hilarious. Hey, any big plans this weekend? Well, we'll talk about it at the end, man. We want to talk a little Cubs baseball.
Cubs talk.
Yeah, let's get some Cubs talk. Like I said, I'll probably just have some. I'll go have some make some breakfast while Ivan joins it because he's all excited. He's all excited again. We got a Cubs guys. He always has all sweet guys.
Got the sweet.
Bring out the
Chris
brooms,
Bryant. Chris Bryant looking decent, a little better than decent. Look, shout out to him.
Bang off
that
the
guy
wall.
right there. That guy right there isn't that guy right there yet, though.
No, not yet. Guys, Aldo Soto. I'm mistaken. I gave him the wrong thing. Hey, listen, he's a blogger for Sports Mockery and a co-host of the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. Listen, he is a good friend. He's starting to become a good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at Aldo Soto 21. Guys, welcome back to Shawn and Maya. Aldo Soto. Aldo, what's up, Papa? How are you?
Good morning, guys. I have to get a sultry intro like Ken's right there. That was nice.
Yeah, but see, you don't got the voice. That's why Ken got Ken got that Barry White voice.
That's right.
Voice, So he gets that sexy interlude.
Listen, you have to ask yourself this, Aldo. Do you want to take part in some weird vampire seance orgy when you look at that room? If you're willing to get involved in that, perhaps the open will come your way.
Something we got to hold a seance to get Javier Baez to stop striking out every other at bat.
Hey, that's one hell of a segue, Aldo. Great stuff, Ivan.
Yeah, you gotta sacrifice a live chicken.
Yeah, something.
Hey, I've seen that happen. I am part Mexican, so I have seen them kill chickens before, but that's a whole nother story. But let's talk about this Cubs team. You know what? Big win for the sweep. That's as a team that's starting off a lot slower than one would expect. Okay, you would figure to be a bounce back year for the Cubs and about a big year for Javi Baez, for Chris Bryant. These guys are in contract years and they're not performing the way you would expect. One, you would expect them because of their talent, but also because it's a contract year. Why have they gotten off such a slow start, Aldo?
I'm not even going to sit here and be like, they've had some bad luck. They've been hitting the ball hard, and like there's been some of that. But I mean, the big, I think it's again it's been like 3 weeks left. It's been less than a month, and like we were talking about just like a week and a half ago. Oh man, the Cubs are like off to the worst offense in their entire history. They're tying records with like the 120 lost Detroit Tigers for like the fewest hits and runs per games for like the first 2.5 weeks. And then, they have like these past 6 games, they lost the series against the Braves, but, the offense was doing a little better. Bryant's been fine the entire season. Just, like the first couple games, he didn't have like any hits or anything, but he's been fine for most of April. Rizzo's been hot lately. Contreras had that week where he hit like, the 4 home runs in like 3 games. But then you do have other guys like, you have Ian Happ, who right now he's really only walking. And it's like cool, but like he only has like maybe a 300 on base percentage, but he's not really doing a lot of hitting. And then there's Javier Baez, last year I give just not just him, but like anyone who had a bad year in 2020, I was like, it was a weird year. Yeah. If you got off to a bad start, you were going to be pressing, and if you like got even to like an okay, like Wilson Contreras got off to a terrible start, and then September he was fine. And like his numbers looked okay, but like obviously they weren't as good as we're used to from Wilson Contreras. But Javier Baez, man, that every swing is like, and like that's the other thing. Like it's nothing new because Javier Baez has always been like this. Like since he came up in 2014, like his strikeout percentage was like at 41% then too, and it was always the raw skills. It's like, man, if this guy just put it together.
Yeah, but although there was a point where in the year he was the National League MVP runner-up, he wasn't this wild. His discipline, he was much more disciplined. He was laying off the high stuff. He was laying off the stuff in the dirt, and most importantly, he was going to right field. Now he just seemed to be swinging like a bat out of hell.
Yeah, no, he has the giant leg kick for like every swing, but even more than that, it's just like he's getting even the pitches that he is getting right down the middle. He'll get fastballs right down the middle, and I forget what the stat is, but he hasn't like gotten any hits off. And it's not like, oh, like obviously most guys are gonna have trouble with like 99, 98 up. Like, yeah, you shouldn't be swinging at those, but he's getting like 93, 94, 95 right down the middle. He'll get like hanging sliders, foul him back, swing through them. It's just terrible. Like it's the same thing that we're seeing from 2020. So like the whole excuse of like it was a weird year, like that's going away very fast because we're still seeing the same stuff.
Although let me ask you this, sticking with Javier Baez, overall he was looked at the guy that the Cubs had to necessarily keep, and I'm not saying that they don't need to keep him, but being a Cubs reporter, how do you extrapolate that moving forward as far as the value when it looks like he may not get back to that MVP form, as far as him being the cornerstone to rebuild this team and roster around?
I mean, so there was that whole reported number that like he turned down 160 million or 170. I have no clue how he's going to get to that right now. Even if he gets back to like okay, like absolutely, like I hope he doesn't continue the season striking out like 45% of the time. Let's say he just gets back to like in the 30s, and he goes back to hitting home runs, and he hits not like 205. And let's say he gets back to not even his MVP number. Let's say like 2019. Like 2019, he had like got off to a great start, and then he kind of fizzled out the last 3 months of the season, 2019. But let's say he's like a 4 WAR player again. I don't see, if you're the Cubs, if you're Jed Hoyer right now, seeing what you've seen for the past couple seasons, because the struggles really go back to like June 2019. I don't see how you can be like, yeah, I'm going to trust having a long-term deal on this guy, because we can see the skill set isn't there as a hitter, just isn't there from other guys. Like a Rizzo, you know where you're going to get. Every year you're going to have great quality at-bats. He might get a slow start in April, but at the end of the year, he's going to hit like 290, hit 30 home runs, drive in 100 RBIs, and play Gold Glove first base. Javier Baez, it's like, yeah, I love his defense, and I do think that sometimes that gets taken for granted just because of how bad he is offensively. But he still is a Gold Glove shortstop, and yeah, he'll have the occasional lazy play, but then like he'll do like 3-4 plays that like other shortstops won't do. But offensively, you're not just like, if you're paying him as a glove first shortstop, fine, but that's going to be what, 3?
Yeah, that's not that type of money.
Yeah, it's going to be what, 3 years, 15 million per year. Like he's not going to be getting 6 years, 25 million. So I don't at this point. And I think the last time I was on, it was during the offseason, and we were talking about like Bryant and Baez and like the core, like if you're the Cubs, who do you give that big next contract to? And I think at the time I did say, I was like, well, I think it would be Baez just because it would be like the least amount of money. But like at this point, I don't want it to be Baez at all. He's like third. He's third or fourth on the list.
Although it's funny you mentioned that, because that was going to be my next question. I'm glad great minds obviously think alike. Who do you sign? Because now Bryant still going to want money, and we know Bryant, because of his MVP status, he's going to get money somewhere else. People are going to throw a boatload of money at him if they think, hey, we need a third baseman, or put him in the outfield. Chris Bryant, and we know who his agent is, so he's not going to settle for $180 million. Now, Chris Bryant's going for a 2+. Okay, whether he gets it or not.
Can he get 2+? Can he get 2+? Okay.
You know what? I think he can. It's not going to be, but you only need one. You only need one person, one suitor. It's not going to be a frenzy like Bryce Harper or Manny Machado, but you only need that one. And so Chris Bryant might be gone. Anthony Rizzo, his contract is, talks have stalled with him in the organization. And now you have Baez. where do the Cubs go? Who do they keep to build around? Because most likely Bryant's going to be gone, and Rizzo seems, I don't know if he's in his feelings or what, or if he's like, you know what, we had enough time to talk and something to get done, or how do you see this? How do you see this playing out? Because the Cubs have a chance of not having any of their core.
I am going all in on Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant has only been bad when he's been injured. I don't really know a lot of like baseball players, football players, basketball players, any athlete who's good when they've been injured. Chris Bryant, ever since he's been in the league, since 2015, when he's healthy, when he's been playing healthy, he's like a top 5 player. Like that's not me being like a homer. That's not me being like, that's not hyperbole. He's been a top 5 player. When he was injured in 2018, when he was playing with like a bad shoulder, changed his entire swing for like 3.5 months. Yeah, he was below average. That was the year he only had 12 home runs or something because he was playing with like one arm. 2019, he like banged up his knee for a month and a half, had to get those cortisone shots in September. But most of 2019, he was basically like his 2016 MVP self. 2020 last year, he had a broken wrist that he played through, and then he was bad. And now he's healthy again, and he looks just like Chris Bryant. So I would still give Chris Bryant his money because Chris Bryant has been their best player. Second, I'd be like, hey, Riz, you're like going to be 31. You're not getting any younger. Are you sure you can get more in free agency than what like? Now I do think that was the way that was handled was that was poor because I think what was it like they were offering him like 70 million or there's reports of like maybe even less like 60 million like the initial offer. So I still think you go to Rizzo because like that is a cornerstone guy that is like the face of your franchise. And I think there is a precedent you have to set. It's like you got to treat your guys like good here. Like it's not like what problems have Anthony Rizzo ever given you except for be a great citizen, a great ball player, a great face for your franchise. So hey, are you going to overpay a little for Anthony Rizzo? Like maybe, but like sometimes you got to do that to keep. It's like with the Sox with Abreu. What did the Sox give to Abreu? Like 3 for 51.
Mm-hmm.
Like, was Abreu going to get that much in free agency? Like, probably not. But, like, hey, they got rewarded with it with that big year in 2020. And, hey, you get to keep it. You get that mentor for the other guys on a young team. And the Cubs are about to have some younger guys on the team because, I mean, at this point, again, I don't think it – let's say if Bryant just does get a huge offer somewhere else and the Cubs are like, can't do that, you're going to have a new third baseman. Let's say Baez is like, hey, I'm a superstar. And the Cubs like, no, you're not. You're gonna have a new shortstop. You're gonna have a young second baseman, probably Nico Warner, hopefully for the next 5, 6, 7 years, and then you still have question marks in the outfield where you're probably gonna have a younger outfield too. So you're gonna need that mentor, and who better than Anthony Rizzo? So I still do think you do try to lock up Rizzo, but going back to like Chris Bryant, I would do like if I'm Jed Hoyer, I am doing anything under my power to keep him. He's been your best player.
Aldo, let me ask you this because I'm in total agreement with you. And on top of that, with Chris Bryant, you have a commodity that in the future with this, if let's just say this rebuild stutters, it gives you something that you can use as an asset to bring back more younger players than letting all these guys just walk, basically. One is Chris Bryant's offense, is it starting to turn into MVP levels, and do you think it's sustainable? But also with Rizzo, one thing that I've seen in reporting recently nationally is the Yankees lurking around because they need a left-hander. Is there any fear because him playing on such a large platform as the Cubs, the Yankees probably feeling secure they can bring him into an even more momentous platform as the Yankees? Is there any fear that he may end up in pinstripes in the future?
I mean, it's a fear. If he goes anywhere, it'd be a fear.
Right. True. But you would hate him more, though, wouldn't you, kind of? I've been in the Cardinals. I'm sure the Cardinals are number one.
I think, no,
maybe the Dodgers.
If it was the Cardinals and, like, Anthony Rizzo signs with the Cardinals, like, I would be like, what? Like, come on. Like, what the hell happened? Like, how did you guys let this happen? Like, no, that's actually, the whole speculation with like just other teams and like the core and what the Cubs are going to do this year. I've always been thinking about, I want to ask one of my co-hosts, he's very close to the Bryant family.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been meaning to ask him. It's like, okay, obviously Chris Bryant has always said that he wants to, play his entire career with the Cubs. He loves Chicago. I've been meaning to ask, like, would there be any bad feelings if Cubs they get like a great offer from a team, like random team, like, I don't know, San Diego or something, and they're like, man, that's a pretty good deal. We actually got like a top 100 prospect, not like these 4 teenagers that they got in the
let us sign you back real quick. Let us sign you back.
And it's like, hey, you went to school in San Diego, be West Coast for like the summer. You're going to love it. When it comes to the off season, we still want you, but we did this because, this benefits us in the short term, but we still want you for the long term. So I've been meaning to ask him, would there be any hard feelings, like, oh, they didn't want me, or like, would there be any of that? I don't think so. I think I think at this point he's hardened enough where like he realizes what the business of baseball is. But they'll be interesting.
Although, Ken, who's his agent?
Scott Boras.
Exactly. So that enough. Okay. The fact of the matter is he's been underpaid. Okay. And the Cubs are trying to extend an olive branch. They've always paid him more than he's won in arbitration. Okay. Because they knew this day was coming. Because Chris Bryant was, I read it the other day. I said it on the last show. He was making less than $500,000 his MVP season. Less than $500,000 for the World Series champion, MVP of the National League. Okay, so now obviously he goes arbitration. He's getting millions, but the Cubs had always decided to pay him more, which they could. Okay, but as a show of good faith, because they're trying to hope on the back end, say, hey, listen, maybe there's a discount. But Scott Boras doesn't understand. I don't know if he can comprehend that word discount. Okay. And with that, I doubt they'll say, hey, I personally don't think that he would be okay with it, that Boras would be okay with it. Bryant might say, hey, listen, yeah, cool. But I think Boras is going to say, hey, you know what? They did this to you. I just don't feel.
But yeah, but even with that, if the Cubs are the highest bidder, Boras isn't going to sit there and say you can't go back. I'm with what you're saying, Shawn. But if we're going to use Scott Boras as the impetus, he's going to go where the cash is at. So if the Cubs are willing to be like, listen, they'll offer you $212, we're going to give you $215, then he should be back here in the Cubs uniform. As long as the Cubs are willing to pay, because I'll say
that's
this:
willing to pay.
I'll give the Cubs this though. When you look at some of the contracts that have gone out, all right, look at Aaron Arenado, and you look at some of these teams that are kind of in these markets where it's like, yeah, we paid you this, but we don't know if we're going to be able to keep you. You know what I'm saying? That it kind of benefits the Cubs. You look at the fact, and I know, listen, the Dodgers are pulling money out of who knows where the money is coming from, right? So you never know if they're going to come get your guy, even if they have a third baseman or not. It's be like, hey, just come over here anyway. But when you really look at who needs a third baseman and how much money is out there, the Cubs are really have a benefit. And also the familiarity, I think, gives them a little bit more cachet as far as if it's close, they may be able to get him back, I believe. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the market, I think I'll give them that much. Because, I mean, and also let's not forget, man, they have to be getting closer to the – I know that the pandemic has hurt them financially as in all of baseball, but with all the stuff they did to Wrigleyville and the network and Marquee Network, they have to be aiming towards the black in some direction, I would think.
And then they're gonna have a lot more money come off the books too next year. I mean, right. they already went below this year, below the luxury tax, and like there's just gonna be more money coming off next year. And I mean, you talked about it, or you said, it's the willingness to spend. They have no excuses. Like you have it. This was like the biggest offseason in like 3 years, and they spent on Jock Peterson, Jake Arrieta, Trevor Williams, and like Austin Romine. And like the biggest money out of that was like Jock Peterson, $10 million for like 1 year. It's not like there weren't any multi-year deals on any of these, so they have no excuse not to spend. So like again, yeah, and like this isn't to say like, oh, the Cubs are going to get them like on a hometown discount. Like no, they're still going to have to pay up, I think. So yeah, but like I would, because I still think like let's say he like slows down, like because he's a big guy, he's like 6'5". Let's say he like slows down a little. Stick him at first base for a few games. The DH is going to be in the NL. Have him DH. Like that's going to extend out his career even more. So I need Chris Bryant long term.
Guys, Guys, we're joined by Aldo Soto from Sports Mockery and the Pinwheels and Abbey podcast, talking Cubs baseball right here on Shawn and Maya on SportsZone Chicago. You think that the DH is going to come back and,
Yeah.
Is it the National League just for?
Come on now.
Yeah, the next CBA, whatever that looks like, they're gonna have. I mean, they probably would have had it this year, but it's the MLB, it's the Players Association. They were like fighting over. They'd be like, all right, we'll give you the DH, but you have to give us the expanded postseason. It's just at the end of the day, it's just all about money. Mm-hmm. So MLB is gonna find a way where it's like, all right, we'll give you the DH, and then they'll get something back that benefits them. But I think the DH will come down and it's gonna stay.
I'm blanking. What's the national got signed by the Philadelphia the season before last?
The pitcher?
No, the superstar.
Bryce Harper.
All right, that's the point. Bryce Harper. There's no way Bryce Harper gets that deal if they don't think that the DH is coming to the NL in the future. Like, you're signing him like, yeah, dude, we're going to sit there and be DHing you the last 4 or 5 years of that contract probably. But listen, I want to go to the field real quick, and I want to ask you about David Ross and how well he's been managing. And with Craig Kimbrell having those innings in the past game, coming out with Dan Winkler and basically just coming out of a jam and doing as well as he did yesterday. Like that was something. Just on that, and how well has David Ross been recently to you in his managerial style?
So with the bullpen, there's always the cliche, a manager's only going to be as good as his bullpen. If everyone has bullpen, like, remember those Kansas City Royals teams, like 2014 and 15, everybody was lights out. So, what's his name? Ned Yost was like the greatest manager in baseball because he couldn't do a wrong move. Everybody was getting outs. The Cubs don't have they've been surprisingly, I've been surprised. They're like near the top of the league in like strikeout percentage from the bullpen. But on the other side, they're like number one most walks. So it's frustrating. And so Ross has to mix and match because, besides Kimbrell and Andrew Chafin, he's been pretty good at home. He's had like 1 or 2 rough outings. But for the most part, he's been good. Rex Brothers has been, mostly good. Then Dan Winkler, I saw this tweet last night after he got out of that jam, and it's his own jam that he made because he walked 2 guys. And it's like Dan Winkler is like, it is so frustrating to watch Dan Winkler to pitch, but he just doesn't give up any hits or runs. And it's the truth. Like, you go back even to last year, he was still the same. He was like walking everybody, but like he just wouldn't give up any hits. He'd somehow find a way to get out of it. But man, I said it last night. I'm like, I don't think I want Dan Winkler on this team. I hate seeing him go out there. Every time he goes out there, I'm like, yo, this is gonna be bad. You know what it reminds me? It reminds me of when Tyler Chatwood would make a start, and you're just thinking like, oh God, how's he? Like, I know he's gonna walk 2 guys. How is he gonna get out of this? I hope he gets out of it. Like, that's the equivalent. It's frustrating, but I mean, credit to him. No one can get a hit off of him. It's probably because he's like everything's a ball, but. Man, if you're a team out there, you can go out there and not swing, and like you could probably score a run against Dan Winkler.
We feel your pain because we had Colomé last year, and Colomé was. I mean, he was like, don't get me wrong, he only blew 1 save. Man, he made it interesting.
The Sox, perfect timing making that switch.
Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it.
But yeah, Ken, overall, early on, when you don't really have set roles, because like entering the season, you had Craig Kimbrell, and then you had just a whole bunch of other guys. So, he has to figure out who can he trust, who can he not. And I think for the most part, he's done all right with what he has. Obviously, there's the decisions of like, you have a Dan Winkler. Do you want him, a guy who, doesn't really throw a lot of strikes? Do you want him starting the 10th inning when there's a leadoff guy at second base? Craig Kimbrell only threw 7 pitches. It's like, maybe you could have just thrown him out again in the 10th because he's been phenomenal. He's been 9 innings. He's only given up 1 hit. But overall, I think he's done all right job. There's obviously as a manager, I was going to get questioned, and at the end of the day, you just have to trust. It's a cliche. Trust your process. Don't say like just because this ended up happening, I was right, even though the decision you made was wrong. And I think there's been a few times where he said, oh, I probably shouldn't have done this. That was my bad. So it's good that he at least acknowledges when he does make a mistake.
Dan Winkler, the epitome of a bend don't break defense.
That's exactly it. It's like the Bears in like 05-06, allowing like 10 play 60-yard drives, and then you get the interception.
You're not coming in this like
that or a field goal. Hey, we got one more question for you all before we let you go, but our resident Cub fan wanted to ask you, so have at it, Cub fan. Hey, Ken, me and you can go grab something real quick to eat because it's Cub.
Oh, just
anyway, Aldo. So what I wanted to ask you was, so with this team, and I know the struggles with Javi Baez, man. Like I said, there was one pitch yesterday. I told Shawn he couldn't hit that shit with an oar. You know what I mean? And I understand his struggles, and I'm right there with you with keeping Chris Bryant. Where do you see the Cubs at the All-Star break, at the trade deadline? Where do you see the Cubs at the trade deadline, and where do you see and if they do, because I know the next question, if they do move anyone, or if they move multiple people, who is it going to be?
So, before the season started, I was like, looking at the team, looking at what they had, and I'm like, they have enough talent. They have enough talent to compete. Like, I know the Cardinals got Arenado. I know the Brewers they had a few good signings, and the Brewers pitching staff is just really, really good. But, I looked at the Cubs. You look like the roster, and I'm like, no, like this team still has the talent to be a contender to win the division. Obviously, they got off to that horrible start, but, they're 99 now. They're right back at 0. And again, I just keep going back to this team has the talent. Like, yes, they've had this like since 2018 where the offense just goes into deep slumps, and it's not just one or two guys. It's like the whole lineup just struggles at the same time. But, when you got Rizzo and you got Bryant, even Contreras, when he gets hot, hopefully Ian Happ gets it together here soon. But at least Ian Happ he's still walking. It's not like he's been a complete zero. You have Nico Horner's got called up. So maybe he can add a different element to the lineup here. Hopefully, I think I'm saying a lot and saying nothing here. I think we're gonna get to July, man. It's gonna be like July 10th. The Cubs are going to be maybe one or a few games back of first place or something. And we're going to be like, well, is it really worth it to keep these guys? Yeah, they might be in the division race, but are they World Series contenders? And then at that point, we're going to be looking in the mirror and we're going to be like, man, I think we're going to have to say bye to some of our favorite players. And I think at number 1, it's going to be Craig Kimbrell because he has the option for next year. But who wouldn't want a shutdown reliever? Hopefully he keeps it up. That can should bring you back a pretty good prospect. And then out of the position players, who's going to give you the best return? It's going to be Chris Bryant. And again, I think when you get to the point of I think we might see another white flag trade, maybe.
Ooh, don't white flag it. You don't white flag it.
and that's what I was. And thank you, because that's where I was going. That's where I was going. It's scaring me that's where it's going to get because of what they haven't done, like what they haven't produced. And what they haven't done. This is what we get.
Well, listen, it works out well for you guys because if that's the case, look what the Yankees got for Aroldis Chapman. They got Gleyber Torres.
Yeah, but see, here's the key. What the Yankees did so well was they also, when they got Chapman from the Reds, they took all his money. And they're like, well, that's fine. You take we'll give you these other prospects to the Reds. We'll take Chapman his money. So it goes back to the money too. Because, Chris Bryant still makes whatever amount he's making this year. The Cubs can't be like, okay, can you just please take his money and, just give us whatever prospect you want? No. That better not happen. If that happens, then no. Screw all this. That better not. It better be, hey, we'll be willing to eat as much money as you want, but hey, we want one of your best prospects or something.
Yeah, Brian's making 19.5.
Yeah, so it can't be oh, please, for the love of God, just take his money and give us a couple bats in return. No, it's got to be hey, we'll eat half of the money left. Give us a top 100 prospect. That has to be it.
Real quick, I've told your co-host this when he's come on the show when I've been lucky enough to be on here. You guys have the best name of any podcast that I know of.
Thank you.
That's just the truth. It's very clever, to say the least.
Thank you. Great intro song too. I forget his name, but shout out to the guy who did our intro song. Great intro song.
Hey, listen, although great stuff, Papa, I appreciate it. Do me a favor, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at AldoSoto21. Follow the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. You can download it on wherever you get your podcasts. Then follow us on Twitter at Pinwheels and Ivy Pod, and everything I blog about on Sports Mockery, sportsmockery.com.
Great stuff, Papa. We'll be in touch soon. All right.
All right. Yep. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Later, Aldo.
Hey, guys, we got to take a quick break, and on the other side of the break, we're going to have more sports conversations. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. We're going to find where Ken's going to be Rona-licious this weekend. So don't go anywhere. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Take off your glasses, please. You look familiar. You got a record?
Yes, sir, he's got a record. He's got a great record. The Black Rooster, 13 KOs. Paco Aguilar, El Gallo Negro. He's got a great right uppercut.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
The pitch to Hayward. Base hit to right, Cubs win. Jason Hayward drives in the winning run with a sharp ground ball into right field. Javier Baez comes in to score, and the Cubs have swept the New York Mets.
The call on Cubs radio in the bottom of the 10th. 4-3 the win over the Mets on Thursday. The Cubs are back to 500 at 9-9. 120 first pitch today against the Brewers at home. It was a day off for the White Sox. They open up a series at home tonight against the Texas Rangers. NBA, the Bulls over the Hornets 108-91. Thaddeus Young, Kobe White, Nikola Vukovic each with 18 points. Vukovic with a double-double. Another crucial matchup tonight for the Blackhawks against the Predators at United Center. Chicago is 3 points behind the Preds in the standings. Download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
This week at Macy's, save on the comfiest lineup. Update your relax at home and on the go rotation with 20 to 40% off select loungewear for him and her. And refresh your space and prep for warmer nights ahead with great deals on cozy bedding basics. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift card services and fees. Sign up today at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Hey, this is Dr. J, and I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at SportsZone Chicago. We just got done with Aldo Soto from the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast on Sports Mockery, talking a little Cubs baseball. They got a lot of stuff going, man. They got the Cubs need to,
I got a few questions for you, Shawn.
Sure,
right.
Ken. What's up,
this
Papa?
is for both of y'all. One, Ivan, where's the Shock G at? And I don't mean the Humpty dance.
I can't play it because I sent Shawn the picture. Like that, like the last 2 songs I played, they blocked. So
okay. You don't want to do that.
I'm like, I don't want to do that. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I just that had to find that out. Also, with that Lou Diamond Phillips clip, is that La Bamba? What movie is that?
Oh, that's Blood
No,
In,
Blood In, Blood Out.
Okay. I couldn't remember which movie that was, but I know I'd seen it before, so I just want to know. And this is the last one. I've been wanting to ask you guys this since Monday. That George the Iceman Gervin drop, was he greased up in that when he gave that drop? Because it sounds a little greasy.
Hi, this is George Iceman Gervin. I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning.
We got
that's some good production right there. That's quick, Ivan. That's quick.
So we got that at the Big Three.
Okay.
A couple years ago.
He was greased up.
And so
was they handing out the Heralds that day too? So he was greased up with the Heralds.
So that was the first time we had been down. We had been credentialed at the United Center.
Okay.
And so, man,
dope,
dude. The I don't want to say the
cafeteria. You was in there like a superstar.
Man, I don't want to say the cafeteria because it's not a cafeteria down there, but it's a the food joint down there that they were not playing around. Dude, they don't play around. And I wouldn't doubt that George had a few drinks. He drank. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Okay. And it made for a good drop though. Yes, man, Shawn and Maya in the morning. And you know what? It sounds like a finger roll too. You know what I mean? So yeah. But I think the big three's coming back, but they're not going to be in Chicago this year. It's going to be, I think it's ATL and Vegas are the only two spots they're going to be in. But when they come back, I'm telling you, I have a funny story about one of my favorite players of all time, Chris Jackson, Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf.
Oh, come on.
Dude, I love him. So we're there, and he's been one of my favorite players ever since he was at LSU. Him and Shaq, for a year. But
remember that game he killed BJ and Steve Kerr in Denver, and he just busted their ass, and it was like I think they went to OT. It was shameful. Please continue though.
And so he, because he has Tourette's. If you guys didn't know, he has Tourette's, and I remember reading the article, in SI, and dude, he was awesome because dude, I have a picture with him, and he's not much tall. I think we're about the same height. All right, and I'm 5'11".
Got blackballed out of the NBA.
Right, for sitting down.
And also praying during the national anthem.
Right. So he was they're like, I'm true with this guy. And I just wanted him to. I wanted his drop. I wanted it, and I'm waiting. I'm like, all right, and he coached the last game. I'm like, damn, dude. I'm like, okay, I get it. He's in there, but I'm waiting, and I'm not going anywhere. And they moved us back. They kind of sectioned it off. Everyone was gone. I'm like, I'm waiting. He didn't come out. I was about to go on a bus just to see, but I'm like, no, I know he didn't come out. So he comes out, and I'm like, yes. I'm like, hey, can I get a picture with you? He's like, yeah. I said, I also want to, could you give a drop, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So he's like, I'm Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, and I listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning. And I'm like, yes, that was the only person. The hell with Ice Cube, the hell with LL Cool J who was there, bumped them. I wanted Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf because he was just that dude from college to the NBA to that.
If you could have got LL though, that would have been nice.
Or Ice Cube. But listen, if people don't know, if Mahmoud was playing today, he would be averaging about 30. So it'd be very similar to Steph in some ways, to say the least. If he was playing today, like the dude could fill it up in a league where they can hand check. All right. And he was light. All right. As far as his weight, the dude could fill and has Tourette's. All right. Yes. The dude could fill it up. Nasty, man.
And the thing about it, his crossover was ridiculous. Right? Like you wouldn't even fall because it was so fast. You didn't have time to react to
past
fall.
you. Past you.
It was that's how crazy his crossover was. And and I loved it. And so I finally get it and I'm excited. So I'm going so I'm walking back to the where I get the drop. I'm like, yes, I'm fired up, dude. And all of a sudden, do you have an iPhone, Ken?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So you have an iPhone. So on the recording was okay. This was back in 2018. So it's 3 years ago. I went to press play, but I hit record. Instead. I hit record instead. And all of a sudden, Shawn and Maya in the morning.
Hurt.
I was like, I was out hyperventilating. Like here's a picture of us.
Okay.
So he's like he might be 6 feet flat because I'm 5'11", and dude, I was heartbroken that I didn't have his drop. It was like Shawn and Maya in the morning. I was like,
I'm sorry, bro.
No, that's funny. It's funny as hell now. Don't get me wrong. I laugh at it too, like dumbass. No one told you to keep listening to it 5 times, dumbass. Okay, save it. Okay, email it to yourself. Save it.
That's what I was about to say. Now you have a formula to do when that happens, just to sit there and make sure that you don't do that again. It happens.
So I'm gonna
gotta live and learn.
So when we see each other, I'm gonna tell him a story. He's probably gonna say, "Dumbass,"
right? And then scream something through Tourette's.
Dumb. No, I'm sorry.
I didn't do that.
I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. Don't worry about it. I'm going to hell on a grease down slide. It's fine. Hey, but how about our White Sox, dude? We got a big game, big set this week. We got a 9-game homestand. The Rangers, and tonight big matchup. Dylan Cease versus Dane Dunning.
Guy versus me and Maya's guy. All right. The truth is happening tonight.
It's not.
Go ahead.
It's not my guy. He's not my guy. They're both my guys. And trust me, I would have rather have kept the Dylan Cease, not Dylan Cease, Dane Dunning. Okay, but you don't get to pick.
Oh no, I'm with you. If you had of course that's who they wanted.
Right.
It's just that to me, Dane Dunning has, and if you believe Dylan Cease has better stuff, that's great. But Dane Dunning has the intangible of he has those, man. For instance, how we always say like Dylan Cease has that inning. Like I would say that Dunning has a couple of bats, but then it was going to be lights out for the most part last season, just a small sample size of last season. And to know that guy, and you were predicting him to be the last guy in the rotation, it was going to be sweet. So it's just, again, look, Lance Lynn, especially when he gets back, has been balling out for the most part. And that you couldn't go into this. We said this over and over again, that you could not go into the season thinking that really Dunning, Cease, Kopech, that you were going to have Giolito, and you saw what happened to Giolito when they sat on the change, or the change wasn't working or executing. Giolito and Dallas Keuchel, and then a bunch of kids. You'd had to have somebody in there to bump those kids back down, and that's what they went out and did. I mean, but again, it's always you could be a homer, and the players that develop in your system that you like.
Yeah. Dane Dunning, are you sitting down? This is what this Joker's doing this year. In 3 starts, 3 starts for the Rangers. He's 1-0. Hasn't allowed a run in his last 14 innings. And has an ERA of .60 with 16 punch-outs and 2 walks in his last 3 starts.
And what's Dylan Cease doing in his last 3 starts?
I got to check.
Okay, because I know it's not that. Imagine if we had that. We could have just sweetened the pot. Give him something else with Cease. Could just sweeten the pot up a little bit. Especially the control. Listen, if Dane Dunning turns into an all-star, all right, and the amount of controllable years we had on him, I'm going to be a little bit perturbed depending on if we win the World Series or 2. All right, now that World Series or 2 will relax me. But it will relax.
That'll suffice, I guess.
It would be like you got to give to get. But if he turns into like one of those dudes, it's gonna be like, because you saw it last year was like this dude right here. Like I don't know, I'm feeling shorty right here, and if he it'll be one of those things that again, if they win, hey, you have to do what you needed to do. And also, you didn't know that, and I'll say this too, okay, and not just being a homer or being just a straight fanatic. You had to get someone who had more experience in there. I would have rather Dane Dunning been here, but you had to. And as you just said, you can't get something without giving something. But it'd be good to see him back going against this team. I'll tell you this much, Shawn, if he kills them, I'm not going to be happy tomorrow. All right, if he comes out and does the damn thing, it's definitely going to be like, ah. But you know what? The Sox, Sox are playing well. Timmy is doing Timmy things. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know why that I believe in Tim Anderson, but I love the fact that Tim Anderson hasn't plateaued to me just yet.
Mm-mm.
You know, defensively, there are some things with routine plays that we know he needs to get better at, right? But just as far as that bat, I mean, to be someone who wasn't a full-time baseball player and for you to become the hitsman that he has become, man, dude, I look forward to the day where he brings the MVP to Chicago. Like that's the type of player that Tim Anderson can be, and having him back. I was so happy that Tony didn't play him the second game of that double.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that was like so like, and I know that Jason Benetti and Steve Stone was saying that perhaps if they lost, it was a chance. I don't care if they lost, you don't run him back out there in that situation when you know he has a bad will or whatever. But see what Timmy has been doing. It's definitely been play. Your guy has been living up to the name of Nicky Two Strikes. Listen, you know I come down on Magical, especially when it just at bat wise has been doing this thing. The Sox are looking decent. You know what I'm saying? We'll see. Listen, Giolito, it happens. I hope it doesn't become a trend. You know what I'm saying? And right after that game, he was on his own ass about, you know what I'm saying? Listen, the changeup wasn't executed, and they was looking for it. And they was on it from Jump Street. You know, if he can, if he just has a couple of those games, 3 of those games this year, you know, the Sox are good. If he can continue to be the ace of the staff, basically, you know, the team should be fine. If Jose, and we think Jose is gonna get back to doing Jose style things, you know what I'm saying? Look at the back of the baseball cards, you know, these guys. But I'll say this too: you don't have that bopper that you had that was protecting some of these guys. You know what I'm saying? And
I don't know if I agree with you on that, though. I think the Yerminator has done a really good job of it, and I think his fandom is really, it might be a little more impressive than his actual numbers. I think with him behind Abreu, I think that's good protection for him. And it's not Eloy, but it's the hot guy.
It's not Eloy, but I'll say this: it's not Eloy, and it's still a guy that can get struck out with things going away. You know, like when I look at the Yerminator, I have to remind myself like how many major league at bats he's had, because to a certain degree, he's doing phenomenal with the amount of major league at bats he's had. But when pitchers get him, I have to tell myself like, Ken, look at the walk that he just took before. He's growing in his IQ and his capacity, but still, when you see off speed stuff and stuff away, they can catch him. But I'm saying that that's good, because how much can I expect from him? Whereas Eloy, it'd be harder to get Eloy with some of these things. And we know how they used to just try. Listen, when Eloy came up, they didn't want to come in for him. It was like everything, listen, off speeding away from him. The scouting report on Eloy was so ridiculous. They didn't try him at all in his rookie season, basically. That's all I'm saying. That it would, think about if they had the Yerman.
All breaking balls in the dirt, and he's going for it. Stop it.
Because even with this shot, listen, even with this, there still was a chance with Engel being out, and that sooner or later, and I'm not going to say that the Yerman Mercedes would have broke with the team, but due to injuries, there's still a chance that he may have been brought in to DH, or not even injuries, depending on what Vaughn and Zach Collins was doing. It may have been an issue when you're just talking about offensively that you may have brought Yerman Mercedes up, and if you had Eloy to go along with that. But I'm not dissing it. I'm just still saying that it's not Eloy. Listen, he has been a pleasure this season, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? When you get and again, like I said, some of the stuff with his eye, and of course he's a catcher, some things he should be able to pick up, but he's always had the hitting tool. Some of the things with his eye, I'm impressed with, but I have to remind myself when he gets caught, like, dude, he wasn't getting crazy major leagues at bat. It's not like this is his third major league season. You know, this is his first years at the big show. And now that's the only thing. That's the only knock I have.
Yeah, I feel you. And he's gonna hit that situation like Lou Bob did, like Eloy did, and once they figure him out, and then they start throwing, you know, things that he struggles. What's his adjustment going to be? You know, how is he going to adjust? I think, but luckily, I think, you know, being around and having a Jose Abreu, having an Eloy Jimenez, having a Lou Bob here. I mean, and let's be honest, Lou Bob's still a rookie too, because he only played, you know, 50 something. I think he had 50 something games last year. So, you know, he's not even a full full season in, but
he's still a rookie.
he's had that situation where they knew how to pitch him, and he had to make adjustments, and he was struggling, and I can guarantee you that he talked to people like Yo-Yo. I guarantee you talked to Abreu, like, hey, how do you do this? What do you do? And it helps. So I think it's a big help for him. And, I just want to see how the adjustments he makes when they start getting them, because his homers haven't been cheap. The shortest homer he's had was 421. Okay, that's not just over the wall. And and so pitchers have to, even though you get them, you may understand how to pitch them. You still have to make those pitches. Just because you know how to do something doesn't mean you make those. How many times you see a catcher set up inside and the ball hanging over the plate, and you leave that, and he's not missing them. He's not missing them, and I love it because this is your one. It reminds me of Eminem. Lose yourself. That's that one shot. You got one shot. You've been around. You're like 27, 29, 35 years old. Whoever knows how old you are.
Right.
Okay, and this is probably your last shot to get to stick before you just bounce around the Caribbean League. And he took it, man. And he took it. And he took it, and he's parking balls deep.
I mean, listen, even if he doesn't, and I'm not saying that he will, even if he doesn't pan out here just from this, he's going to get extra opportunities in the big show with other teams just to try to get the chance that he'll do this again. So I'm happy for the young man that he put himself in this position. Also to the scouting staff for knowing that he had a plus hitting tool if you can just hone some of it. So I'm definitely, listen, I'm not upset. When it comes to the Sox, I'm not upset again with some of the moves that Tony has done. Listen, you asked me last week if you asked me last week how I felt about Matt Foster and Evan Marshall, I'll tell you. And you look at, I believe, the last game, I believe the guys were out there doing it. I mean, it's one of those things. Outside of Ruiz, I just don't think that's going to work. All right? But the rest of these guys, man, it looks like it can work. We just have to sit there and definitely see how the rest of the season goes. Some of the teams in the American League that people was harping on, like the Yankees, you see that they've got off to a terrible start. Even though you got your ass handed to you, you have to split the series with the Red Sox. But I'm geeked for this season. I would like to have some tickets to this week, but I'm going to get my second shot today. You asked me about my Rona. Real story. I went and got a Rona.
Ken and Rona.
So I went and took a COVID test yesterday because I kind of been feeling a little bit off this week. But I don't get my results till tomorrow, which I may end up going to DeMaz's daughter's birthday party and taking the fam to do that. But I want to make sure I don't infect anybody. So I went to see if I have the Rona. And also, since I get my shot today, I will have to move my shot back. But I don't get the test back to tomorrow. So we'll see. Outside of that, I'm going to enjoy some White Sox. I'm going to enjoy a little bit of Bulls. You look at the game that Kobe had last night with Zach out and Vooch, they were definitely doing their thing. That ball was moving around. Young Kobe was definitely stepping up. There was a lot of highlight dunks from your boy, Tomas Sato. Yo, you just talked him up. He must have heard you. Sato, I feel like Sato was watching the last show, Ivan, with me, and you was like, he is not the future. I'm like, he still isn't. But Sato, I feel like, damn, Sato must watch Shawn and Maya, right?
Dude, like, that first dunk when it's going from going left to right on the screen, where that dude even tipped the ball. He's like, I don't give a damn. I don't care.
Dude. The focus, he was like, listen, he said, I'm dunking this from the 3-point line, right? Dude, Patrick Williams dunk, when he shifted the ball and put it in the other hand, dude. Even though it's still pumped the brakes, because I know. I mean, I think Patrick Williams has the tools, but to say that he's going to reach all of them, and then the Kawhi talk, it's like slow down a minute. Slow down. Then again, I know they mentioned it last night. I went and looked at the numbers since they want to bring up Kawhi a lot. He's averaging more points but less rebounds than Kawhi did his rookie year. But it's still like, and I hope he turns into that. It's just like Kawhi Leonard is like an outlier. Like usually you don't get a player to turn into what Kawhi Leonard turned into that wasn't necessarily a scorer, even though he came on the team where he wasn't asked to be the primary scorer. So it's just one of those things. But listen, I'm gonna take in a little bit of Bulls basketball, a little bit of the Cubs. Definitely this week, got a lot under center. Put a Chris Sims interview in the can yesterday that's gonna come out probably in the next couple of days, talking about the quarterbacks in the draft. He's high on Kellen Mond. Just to tease that a little bit. All right. So it'll be a lot of it's a lot of NFL draft stuff. Like, look, this baseball ish is cool, right? It's draft week, baby.
Yeah,
so you know
we got a few more months of baseball. We got months of baseball.
All that shit.
Baseball, right? It's like we got this draft. So this week is a hectic week as far as it's a lot of shows that's gonna be getting recorded. And I look forward to it. I look forward to our thoughts on the draft. I know I'm probably going to be too busy, but I'm still going to be on here probably next Friday because I love this show. It's because and also we don't get enough chance to talk about this, and it's the first time that we had a first round pick. So it's a celebration, but it may turn into frustration depending on what happens. Like I can see us all being collectively upset, but.
It's that situation where the girl keeps getting disappointed by the guy, keeps getting disappointed. You know, it's like if you've been watching Young Rock, how Rocky Johnson, you see he would sometimes just kind of leave Dwayne, leave Dewey as his mom called him. You could do it. I'll do. You're so excited for it, and then like you get let down. You get so excited for it, and then you get let down. So excited for it, and then we go draft a safety in the first round. We're like, what? Safety? Like, what are we doing? What are you doing?
Your analogy is on point. It's like for anybody that's been in a situation where you've mistreated someone in a relationship and didn't give them enough time. You only did it on your time. And like, if just being a male, the girl be like, so when you gonna spend some time with me? And then like y'all get to the point where y'all kind of break up, but then like at the end of the conversation, y'all still together. And it's like, why the hell are we still together? I'm not doing right by you. That's our relationship with the Bears. Unfortunately, because they don't do right by us and they haven't done right by us. But listen, I know we're not going to find out this week. Well, we may find out depending, but for the most part, we're not going to find out this week if these prospects hit or not. But it's interesting and it's something for us to come on here and talk about.
Yeah, it is, dude. It is. So, hey, great stuff, up. I appreciate it every time you come on, dude. So
always, man.
Let everyone know where they can find you, and your next podcast is coming out.
Listen, that Davis, Flipping Friends, and definitely it's going to be a lot of under center. I got some stuff that's still in the can. I got some more field stuff to drop, and I got some flip stuff to drop that's going to be funny. But like I said, I've been under the weather. But yeah, just follow me at that Davis.
Hey, you know what? Real quick, we'll take break at 05. We'll bring out our next guest because I know you guys just did a show last week, and let's get us all on. Just, for shits and giggles, why not? You know what? I just talked to the bosses and they said it's cool. Hey guys, let's bring our guy in. He's out on the East Coast, and he's the one, the only, the Draft Dr. Phil. You can find him on Instagram. He's an IG guy. Find him on Instagram at Phil_Toshin. Guys, let's bring him out. Phil Toshin. Phil, what's up, buddy? How are you?
What's up, boys? How we doing?
Good. I was like, you know what? I said, you guys just had a little conversation the other day over there. So, I was like, well, let's continue that conversation. Okay.
Two of my favorite guys. We should be running the wishbone right here.
With this one, it is the wishbone. Ivan, that's it. That's it. It's the wishbone. So we go from two back set to the wishbone.
We all wish Nagy was gone.
Right.
Yeah, we do.
Wish gone. Wish gone offense.
Hey, Ken, did you see the intro that Ivan put together for me and Phil?
Run it. Run that intro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Throw that up there.
shit goes downhill. You would think guys would fucking pick up their game. And
they're not going to have a $39 million cap hit for a guy who's not there.
Listen, that was that shit. That was that shit right there. Oh,
and I
man.
just thought about it. I'm like, is Ivan taking a jab at us because that's what we played Tecmo Bowl? Is that what he's doing? Like you?
Oh yeah, he's doing it. He's aging you for sure. But there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing. Oh yeah, I was when it came out. I was like, oh, good. Listen, that was dope. Also, Phil.
Yeah.
Sean Davis has responded. He's ready anytime that you're ready. So
He's
that has to be
on?
set up. That has to be set up. We'll figure out how that's going to end up going. But yeah,
you know what we gotta do, like the whole family of Friends, almost like that episode everyone dies for when all these superheroes come.
We
So
should bring Shawn into this. We should bring
coming.
let's do
the other Shawn. Yeah, Super Friends. You get all the superhero. I'll produce something for that. Me and Ivan will do a production battles here.
Now when has been laid.
Now when we come on with Kenneth, we have to have a wishbone intro. He brings out the old Bill Walsh.
Gets the Oklahoma footage.
Jamel Holloway.
Yes. Marcus Dupree.
So Phil, real quick.
Yes.
Did the interview with Chris Sims yesterday. Didn't jump really into the Zach Wilson stuff because we kind of wanted to get some stuff that wasn't percolating in the streets already. But it's something we kind of talked about. He's a big Kellen Mond guy.
I can't believe it. I honestly, listen, I've cut 27 minutes of Mac Jones. I'm trying to condense it down just to show and prove my point here. Like a lot of guys want to like attach themselves to agents or whatever this, Chris Sims, he's hit on a few. Josh Allen was my number one quarterback when he was coming out. I know that's what he carries, so I was there with him. And
he was mine too, and I told Hub Arcus that when he was going with Baker Mayfield too, just to let you know.
Oh, so there you go. I told Hub Arcus Charles Tillman is a Hall of Famer, and he told me to go F myself. And then our boy Lawrence Holmes blocked me for some reason off of that. But anyway, I have this opinion on Mac Jones through the tape, as Shawn knows, sitting there. I'm going to release this tonight. I'm still producing it. It takes a long time, as Ivan can tell you. Cut up tape, then do all the Draft Dr. Phil hip-hop Olympics. Yeah, I got to put some promos in there, spice it up. But I really want you to see the details of where quarterback play is beyond how far you could throw the ball or how cool you might look with a no-look throw. When we look at Mac Jones, I see a guy that I get excited about. Like, I wish that he was a Chicago Bear because of all the mechanical, fundamental, and flawless decision-making skills. Now, is it 100%? No. But there's no quarterback, even the GOAT.
No such thing.
No such thing. But the reality is, in watching the tape, I said to Shane the other day, I go, what are people looking at? It's the same thing I said about Charles Leno and PFF and all these other people who are talking about him, and I'm putting it on our channel, Kenneth. This is the truth. And the same thing about David Montgomery. The bias, the anger, the vitriol against the kid. And then I put it on tape. And then everybody that has the ounce of class, of football acumen as well. Wow. I didn't know what exactly was going on to make David look like, oh, it's a 4-yard gain. That's it. Well, he broke 3 tackles and stiff armed
One in
and
the
carried some
backfield.
exactly to get to the 4 yards. This is what I do. I'm very confident in the fact that when I say this kid is something special, that my reputation I put on it, Mac Jones is somebody where I'm like that. If that's best out of 5, he's a 4.5, 4.7. He's that close to what I saw with Andrew Luck. When Andrew Luck was coming out, he's throwing balls accurately. He's more athletic than you thought he was, but that's not his goal, to beat you with his feet. He's beating you with his footwork and his decision-making. Same thing with Mac Jones. Now, Kellen Mond, to your point, I didn't get to hear this interview. Has it come out yet? Because
No, it hasn't dropped yet.
Okay, so
It'll be
I will
dropping in like the next couple of days.
You know, I will promote it and the whole 9 because of you, my dude. But the reality is, Kellen Mond, you're underthrowing open receivers by 4 yards in college, and I get concerned with his decision making on top of the inadequacies in delivering the football in anticipation passing as well as schemed open passing. And what are those two differences? Shawn knows, your audience might not. Obviously, Kenneth, you know. So when you scheme someone open, it's like a boot action. You know, based on the leverage, that you're going to get this guy open based on where he's motioning or whatever. So that's a scheme open. An offensive anticipation passer is giving the full Monty of all the routes, knowing the coverage against them, and delivering in anticipation of where this receiver is going to run his route based on the coverage that they're given. Okay, so this is where it's like a master's class for a doctor. Okay, he just doesn't get his degree and never have any practice in surgery. He's got to do, be on the depths of the ER and do all that stuff. So
Cadavers.
Exactly. He's got to go through those things, right? So in football, in the NFL, it's a lot of scheme, but it's more anticipation. We're gonna run this play, and if they give us cover 2, this is where you're gonna have to go with the football because that's what the route concept alludes for. But if it's not there, do you have it in your brain to turn and look to another or know where your outlet is? This is where people assessing talent versus the brain, the football acumen, and talent. So when I look at Kellen Mond, I gave you the huge articulation of this, but that's how deep I want you to and the audience to go. I hope it's clear that Kellen Mond is working in a more scheme. He'll hit it if he sees it, but he's more open to scheme, and then therefore his accuracy lacks in that. I don't know how Adam Hogue, your boy, is calling it. Oh, I'm looking at more. I'm starting to like him. No, you look at tape, you see it, you know it. Kellen Mond, to me, is the biggest risk. I would freaking go down to Hallis Hall and yoke someone up if they ever took this guy at 20.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
I know from an interview that I've watched some clips of with Chris talking to Kellen Mond. Part of the thing was his fear of Jimbo as far and not letting him necessarily just letting it rip was one of the part of the discussions that they had, kind of going along with what you're saying necessarily. Yeah. So the scheme may be a hindrance. I'm not saying that it is, but I'm just pointing that out, that it has been discussed.
Listen, he has athleticism. He has the big arm. He's a big arm passer. And I really believe, and this is my theory, I've never heard anyone else say this, so I'm breaking it here. I was going to say it on our draft shows next week, but I'm going to say it here because you're my boys. I think Josh Allen plays into this because a lot of people put Josh Allen into a category, which you and I, Kenneth, didn't. I saw the anticipation throws. I saw the high athleticism in him, but I also saw the ability to put things on the dime, as I always would say. That's a dime ball. And what that is the perfect pass in anticipation of the receiver of where he expects it to be. There's no excuses for a receiver to drop a dime ball. Therefore, when I watched Josh Allen, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of movement, but everybody categorized him as, from a smaller school athlete, big time arm, maybe the biggest arm, but he's inaccurate. I didn't see that on tape. So I would look around like, what does everybody see? I see a lot of dime balls. I see a lot of getting out and extending plays to go off of, whatever's being called. With Kellen Mond, I don't see dimes. I just don't. I see 50 Cent. I see 50-50. It's going to get there. A guy's waiting for the ball to get there. And that in the NFL isn't going to work. Now, he gets to the right place, as we all know. Would Aaron Rodgers be the same guy if, he was higher, if he was drafted and
by the
instead
Bears?
of Cedric Benson, by the Bears, with Lovie Smith and Terry Shea and company? I don't think so. So that plays a role into this. So always, I never kill guys like Mel Kiper, who I think is great at what he does and was an inspiration. He was the forefather of doing and analyzing for the masses, where the NFL kind of just, skipped. He was, there's so many coming after him. So, but some of these guys out there, they just copy and get into cliques and they go with what they think. And I try to stay away from that and analyze just on the tape of what I see. Like a guy like an offensive tackle, Reduns. From the same school as Trey Lance, North Dakota. I love this guy. I don't know how many people have a first-round grade on him, but the more I watched of him, the more I know, based on other tackles in this draft, that I can project him to be a first-round talent. Whether somebody else agrees with that isn't going to be my fear. I'm just going to put my name attached to that thought. Same here. I had Trey Lance ahead of Justin Fields, and the more I watched, the first time in the history of my life, I moved Justin Fields over Trey Lance. So now I have Trevor Lawrence, Mac Jones, 1A, 1B. Then I got Justin Fields there. And then Trey Lance. Then Davis Mills. Then your boy Wilson, Zach Wilson, BYU. I'm very leery of that guy.
Seems like a
Very
wild card.
Yeah.
Hey, great stuff. We got to take a quick break, but I just want to bring all three of us on just to run the wishbone for a few minutes and wear them down. So we wore the defense down. Hey, Ken, great stuff.
Ken, I love you, bro. You're great.
Love you back, bro. I'll see you guys. Have a great weekend. Y'all be safe out there, man.
All right,
we'll get you back on after the draft, Ken. All of us. Shawn,
no doubt.
You, me, we'll
Super
do it
Friends.
all.
The Super Friends.
That's what we'll call it. I'm rolling with that.
Okay, sounds good, buddy. All right, Ken, we'll talk later, Papa.
Later.
All right. Hey, guys, we're going to take a quick break. Any others? We're going to take a quick break. On the other side of the break, me and DDP himself, we're going to talk a little more Bears football and some draft prospects. What are we going to do? It's getting closer. We're a week away, actually less than a week away now. A lot more rumors. Rumors are going to be firing up and flying around. What are the Bears going to do? You'll find out on the other side of the break. Keep it locked right here. Shawn and Maya in the morning on SportsZone Chicago.
Hey, this is Gary Payton, and we listen to Shawn and Maya in the morning. Do that.
AutomotiveMap.com presents the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
The pitch to Hayward. Base set to right, Cubs win. Jason Hayward drives in the winning run with a sharp ground ball into right field. Javier Baez comes in to score, and the Cubs have swept the New York Mets.
The call on Cubs radio in the bottom of the 10th. 4-3 the win over the Mets on Thursday. The Cubs are back to 500 at 9-9. 1:20 first pitch today against the Brewers at home. It was a day off for the White Sox. They open up a series at home tonight against the Texas Rangers. NBA, the Bulls over the Hornets 108-91. Thaddeus Young, Kobe White, Nikola Vukovic each with 18 points. Vukovic with a double-double. Another crucial matchup tonight for the Blackhawks against the Predators at United Center. Chicago is 3 points behind the Preds in the standings. download the free Score app. Lightning fast updates so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. I'm Chuck Sanders. That's the Sports Flash on the SportsZone Chicago.
To all you do-it-yourselfers, get ready to welcome Fram into the fam. Because America's #1 oil filter brand now has their own new line of motor oil and fluids. And it's only at Advance and CarQuest Auto Parts. Stop into Advance and choose from 4 new Fram oil change bundles starting at just $20.99. They have the oil and filters you need to keep your engine running stronger, longer. Advance your auto at Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest locations. See store for details.
This week at Macy's, save on the comfiest lineup. Update your relax at home and on the go rotation with 20 to 40% off select loungewear for him and her. And refresh your space and prep for warmer nights ahead with great deals on cozy bedding basics. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase except gift card services and fees. Sign up today at Macys.com/Star Rewards. Savings off sale and clearance prices. Exclusions apply.
Welcome back to Shawn and Maya in the morning at SportsZone Chicago. We just got some rough news. Area 3, McVeigh just posted it, but Ivan had actually, when we were on with Ken, Ivan texted it to me as well. Steve McMichael, Bear legend, Bear great, has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, and apparently is declining quickly. That sucks. Mongo was he was a fan favorite. I got a chance to coach with him a few times at a couple camps in and around the Chicagoland area, and the best part not with the kids, and it was great. He was great with the kids, and but the stories that he had for us, with the coaches at the camp, just unbelievable. Like that dude lived life on his terms. He's a wild boy. He was a wild boy, but you know what? He loved football. He was great at football. And that's the kind of guy, and I'm very fortunate to have had teammates like him. So I can only imagine how much his teammates truly love him, because he was just a character, straight say boy out of Texas who just didn't care, and he was going to tell you what he felt, how he felt, and political correctness be damned.
Yeah, we had Dante Jones and Lemuel Stinson on, and we actually asked them about him. So it's kind of timely that they talked about him as you're describing him. He was a wild man, but he was somebody you respected the hell out of because he backed up what he spoke. There's a lot of people out there that can't back up what they, speak. So obviously the wrestler type, he's doing that stuff. And his story, I mean, if you look at his numbers, and I did this before, you look at Warren Sapp in the Hall of Fame, and then you look at his numbers in comparison, they're better. And this guy was cut by the New England Patriots, and the Bears picked him up off the scrap heap, and they were able to...
The rest is history.
Yeah, the rest is history. The guy, a lot of people have a little bad taste because he ended up going to play for the rivals up north. But listen, don't hate anybody that's trying to make some money for their family. That's at the end of the day, that's the reality of this administration in its history in regards to how they treat the players and how they treat, their alumni, so to speak. So listen, Steve McMichael, the passion, the love of the game. I always hear my father's voice with determination. That's what the bottom line is. In every football player that's in this draft, or everyone that has ever played in the NFL, they're the upper echelon of talent. But do they have that determination to be the greatest? And Steve McMichael, he did. And it's sad. I saw it. I saw the news. Someone had texted me as I was, coming over to this spot to jump on the show with you about him diminishing, and that it's awful, man. Anytime that happens, you're dealing with something that's just disheartening on every level. So hats off.
Yeah, hats off. One of my high school coaches, my favorite high school coach, passed away from Lou Gehrig's disease a few years ago, and He was he was very similar. He was one of those old school guys. Ask no quarter, give no quarter. He told you like it was. If you didn't like it too damn bad, be a freaking man, right? He, and that was actually our motto at St. Rita: accepting boys and graduating men.
Exactly.
And people like him, whether you didn't like it too bad, welcome to life. You're gonna have to deal with it. You don't want to do this for PE, or because he was a PE teacher. Like, you didn't want to do it, too bad. All right, then if you don't want to do it, no problem. This is what your grade's going to be, and don't come. I don't need to hear anything else about it. Either you're going to do it. He didn't argue with people. He didn't like it. These are your choices. You choose. And he was bold up front, and he was my favorite coach at St. Rita, hands down. He was actually my freshman year, my freshman coach, and then he got moved back up to varsity and was the coordinator. He's Coach Angston, man. He was one of the guys that really, you know how it is being a coach and your dad. I'm sure seeing all the guys who just would run through a brick wall for your dad. He's a guy I'd run through a brick wall for. He's one of those dudes, man. And he gave it to me straight when I wanted to go to Nebraska, and he was like, and he sat me down, and he said, "Where do you want to go to school?" I said, "Nebraska." He said, "You're not going to Nebraska." He said, "If they wanted you, they would have contacted you already." He said, "So," he goes, "You're not going to Nebraska." He goes, "So you better start thinking about some smaller schools." He said, and I was mad at him. I was mad as a mother hover, dude. I was mad.
But
he was
kept
right.
it 100.
Yeah,
kept it 100.
Exactly. And he's like, "This is what and he said, "You're probably going to go to a smaller school, a mid-major, and I didn't like it, but again, it was the truth. And whether you liked him or didn't like him, and a lot of people didn't like him, but you know what? Everyone respected him. And that was, so I get it. And that's how Mongo is. Mongo is a guy that he's going to tell you the truth. And, because it's so much easier to deal with somebody when they tell you the truth. So now you can make your decisions and off of the truth, not off of an agenda that they have and some bullshit story that they're making up. So, Michael was awesome. Like I said, the meetings and the stories we had, the stories we had when I worked 2 or 3 camps with him, and just unbelievable. I can't, no social media back then, so you didn't have to worry about anything being posted and stuff like that. And they ran Chicago. I mean, you know what I mean? They ran this city. And they still have a lot of clout in this city, and it's 30-something years later, and it's unfortunate.
The Bears are the king in Chicago. Football is the king in America. It's not even close, and the draft will even show you that. You saw it in the pandemic, how starved people were, and the draft coverage was higher rated than NBA finals, NHL, and Major League Baseball combined. All of their ratings combined didn't measure up to the draft, which isn't even a sport, a match.
It's
just
an
event.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the reality of the power of the NFL. And then when you look at the city of Chicago, hey, I'm in Connecticut. I'm a Bears fan. There's thousands, hundreds of thousands of Bears fans in Connecticut alone. So the power of that city, obviously, the blood goes through the Chicago Bears. And unfortunately, they've taken that power and been condescending. And it's a tough grind. We did that fan mock draft, and a bunch of them were saying how precise we were in the fact that it is an addiction to cheer for this team because they don't treat you well, but they don't care enough about winning half the time. Christ, I flipped out, Shawn, in regards to drafting a left tackle, right?
Uh-huh.
And then putting him at right tackle because we got and that's just not football in my life. That's not Steve McMichael's way. It's not Sean Sierra's way. It's not Philatoshin's way. It's just stupidity. And when you have a team that has that much clout and a sport that has this much clout, and you continue to do this and transcend this sport in the wrong way, it's something as simple as that. The example was our fan mock, our selector, Ryan Cox, Spencer Strong, hashtag Spencer Strong. He selected Liam Eichenberg, left tackle, Notre Dame. He's played left tackle for 4 years, 4 years starter. I have other guys over him, whatever. That's the pick. But now the Bears will take that left tackle and they'll put him on the right side, or they'll put him at guard. And this is the dysfunction of this franchise, where the Dallas Cowboy or the New England Patriots, they draft a guy, they put him in that position to compete. And you make the best team and you put the best team out there that is available. Now, Shane and Cars, they were egging me on, but I lost it because this has got to be unaccepted by fans and this culture that they have said is the envy of the league. Put players in positions to win, no doubt, but put them in the best positions that you're going to win. And this has been, since I've been a kid watching this team, they can't figure this crap out. They can't figure out the quarterback position. They can't figure out that you need more Steve McMichaels and less puppy shit out there, that you're signing potential. You don't win with that, Ryan Pace.
Thank you.
You don't win with that. You don't win with not running the football, Mr. Idiot there. David
Mr.
Montgomery.
I'm not an idiot.
Mr. Montgomery is the way. Hey, if the I formation's really working, stick with it. Stick with it. Let your pride go away and start drafting football players, not guys that run really well in shorts. That goes back right to what Kenneth was talking about, Kellen Mond. Yeah, he looked great in a pro day. Now let's watch the tape together. Let's watch what really happened, what matters. And you
talked about the NFL and the power that they have. They've taken the draft and it's gone literally, to a global event.
Yes.
So now, not only that, how can you build upon it? Well, then now you have pro days. Okay, so you can really see, and pro days, or I shouldn't say that, it was actually before the NFL Combine, because remember that was huge thing. That was huge.
Oh my God!
The NFL, the amount of hype that they had around the NFL Combine in Indy until COVID took that away. And then okay, well, fine. Well, then now we'll have pro days at the different schools, so we can get because we only invite 300 people to the combine, and those are usually seniors. What about all the juniors who are coming out, or the redshirt sophomores who were coming out, and they weren't invited to the NFL Combine because, again, it was for seniors. So now they had that, and you see now everybody's looking to have a pro day, and the one thing, and I'll never forget it, is Jerry Glanville, the guy who said, "I don't want to see a guy run around in shorts."
Yeah.
I don't know. He said pro days and all this stuff. He goes, the NFL Combine. He said, I don't need to see a guy run around in shorts. Just show me the tape. And that's exactly it. Because if you don't, the pro days and the combine, if you mess up, okay, it can really, as much as it can help you, it can hurt you, because you're throwing on air. So you better be able to hit all your wide receivers.
Exactly.
You better be able to go around the dummies that move from side to side, and not, you're not dealing with people. You're dealing with inanimate objects. Okay. Right. And those things, truth be told, they don't matter. In reality, they matter because, he ran a 4.3, so he's jumped up the draft board, because I don't give a damn what you run. Can you tackle? Can you catch if you're a wide receiver? Yes. If you're dropping balls and you're behind everybody, what good is being behind everybody?
Exactly.
It doesn't make point.
The Jets took a guy, he was Olympic speed. Johnny Lamb Jones.
Yeah.
My uncle Larry Pasquale was there, tells the story that the GMs and the scouts, they're all, look at this guy's speed. And my uncle was the wide receiver coach. He can't catch. He's saying. They're not listening to him. So there's a lot of shoe salesmen, and he ended up losing that job as the wide receiver coach. He ended up becoming the special teams coach, but he had nothing to do with Johnny Lamb Jones. It was just the court of public opinion that was attached to him. And really, it was other people. This shit happens all the time in the NFL. There's so many shoe salesmen. In fact, we got one as a coach. It's the reality of the truth. And when people come at me, I'm like, no, I can hire Shawn Sierra, me, and people that I know, and we would freaking take this Bears team to the playoffs. That's how confident I am in the talent here. You could say whatever it is you want and troll on me. whatever you want. You are not going to change my mind. When the reality is I don't get along with a click of stats. To your point, you want to check some boxes. Yes, I want to see fluidity. I want to run you through some drills, see how you move, and match that to what I see on the tape. That's it. The 4.4 that you ran just checked the box. Wow, you are what you are on tape. There's also game speed, as you know, Shawn.
Yes. Jerry Rice ran a 4.6.
Yeah.
It was his fastest. And that no one ever caught that joker from behind.
Exactly. There's a different level. And if you've never played the game of football, people are scared to get hit. There's a physicality, a mental side to the game of football that you cannot simulate in a virtual reality booth
Or explain to anybody.
Explain it to anybody. You just have to experience it 100%, Shawn. And that's where the difference is. That's why there is no exact science in this, and there's no accountability in this. So everybody way they word a tweet or way they word an article gets them out of their analysis or whatever they were saying, from Louis Riddick all the way to Matt Miller. They're going to manipulate the story. With me, I'm not going to manipulate anything. I'm going to show you on the tape. I'm going to show you my opinion and my analysis and allow you the right to decide for yourself. In many a case, I've changed people's whole mindset in regards to how they watch, learn, or view the game, but also how they talk about players. That's the goal of our network, and that's the truth I stand by. I might rub some people the wrong way. That's on them. That's how I see it, because game speed is a real thing. So when you go back to the tape, you look at David Montgomery at Iowa State, and you see the traits, and you check off those boxes. I don't give a shit what he ran the 40 in. I know that I'm drafting a football player and I'm getting a talent there, and it has happened. Now, are we going to miss on some guys? Yes. And the reason is, on the tape, it's going to show you a great football player, and he's living on his athleticism. But coaches, to my point earlier, scheme things to get players open or get players opportunities. And thus you have to go beyond that scheme to see mentally, like a Johnny Manziel. I thought this kid was going to be a star, but mentally and how he was raised and everything became a waterfall that he could not stop. He just is what he is. And that story happens over and over. That's why you just, the importance of Ryan Pace for the organization is that he sits down with these people, these players, these prospects, and gets to the root of the person to identify, do they love the game of football? Shawn, you've been around football your whole life. So have I. I've been around some of the most amazing athletes that have never made it into the NFL. You want to know why? Because they didn't love the game.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't love it. So it didn't matter.
It's just, but it's not who. That's not who they are.
They didn't want it.
But everyone else is going to want it.
That's the GM's job. Does this guy get to the league, get paid like Charles Leno did, and decide, fuck it, Taco Bell it is? Or do they get and work their asses off like a Khalil Mack does? I got paid, but I'm too prideful in my job, too prideful and love this game to be lax. That's the job of the GM. He's failed. He's failed.
The tough questions you got to ask. I mean, because and that's the one thing that, that's why I would love to have been a scout. It's just because you see what you see on tape. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's not going to change. Okay. Right. But then let me get to you. Let me get to the psychological part of you, because that's the most important thing. All right. Talent is great. Okay. But there have been guys who are Hall of Famers who aren't very talented. Why? Because they made that trek because of the fact that they wouldn't stop, because they were the hardest workers in the room. Okay, they were intelligent. Okay, I mean, I'm not very fast. Mike Singletary, not very fast at all, not very big at all. But you can't find anybody who knows anything about football to say that he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. And you have to find these people who would live and die for that. Because there's people like me, like I would have loved to have gotten a shot in the NFL. You know, and thanks, Rashawn Salam, rest in peace. Okay, and the Chicago Bears, but that's another story. We won't go down that road. Okay,
I
but
know the story.
But it's like something like that. Like that, if I gotten to that level, like that's something like I was told when I was as a freshman, I was really good. Okay, in 6th grade I was really good. In 8th grade I was really good. Going to freshman, and I was told by a family friend, he's like, man, he goes, you're really talented. And he said, but you need to do one thing. He said, you need to work like you're fighting for a job, even if you're a starter. He says you have to go to every practice, you have to come into every season as if you're trying to make the team. And he said, that mindset keeps you sharp, it keeps you focused. It said, and here's what else it does. It sets the tone for everybody else. It says, okay, if this guy who's probably going to be the starter, okay, works this hard, okay, one, you get all the weak guys. Okay, well, I'll never catch him because he's gonna. But all the other guys, it brings it. Well, I want it, so he's working this hard. I want to work harder, and not only does that make me better, that makes my position group better, which makes our team better. So you got to love it, and a lot of guys don't. And it's again, it's not their fault, but you have to weed those guys out. And
absolutely,
when you get people like Ryan Pace, who the not bringing in Deshaun Watson, and I know he's going through his own legal issues, and we won't go into that, but to not bring him in, that's a dereliction of duties.
Yes.
That's a dereliction of duties and not bringing him in. All right, you brought in Mahomes, you obviously talked to Mitch, but that's a dereliction of duties because that's your job is to evaluate all of those people, okay, who you have the potential to take to draft.
Stay there. Think about the neglect that you have the opportunity once in a long time to draft. You knew you wanted a quarterback. Forget your assessment. Forget the worries and the doubts that you had in regards to his skinny legs or whatever it was. You never took the opportunity to bring him in and sit down and talk to the man and be led. How many times in my life when I'm hiring someone, do I already look at their resume and say, well, they got some good experience, but this other guy's more qualified. Then I sit down with that person and all of a sudden I'm blown away by the love or the passion or the drive that they have to be in this position or coach this position. And that's where you get real answers. So to be perfectly honest, Deshaun Watson's tape versus Mitch's tape, it's like 10 Deshaun, 4 Mitch. To come away any other way than that, you're
playing the same.
Lost.
They're playing the same competition, same schools. So you're not playing. Well, I'm in the Big Ten. I'm in the Southeast. Well, he's in the ACC. He's here. He's in the WAC. No, you have the same competition. So and they played the same. A lot of the same teams, and there was no way that you could. I would even have put Mitch Trubisky. Even if you did put Mitch Trubisky on par, because a lot of people did.
A lot of people did. They try to backtrack, but they did.
The thing is, when you watch the film, when you watch what Deshaun Watson did in the highest level that you can in college football, the biggest game in college football, not once, but twice, throwing for over 400 yards against Alabama, the best team in college football at that time.
Yes.
For him to do it not once, but twice.
Exactly.
Okay. Shows you this guy's special. If nothing else, this guy's special. I couldn't believe
it, Shawn. When they traded up, I was celebrating with my wife. There's no way. Finally, you fucked up with Laramie Tunsil. Don't do it again here. They did it again, and they're doing it again. That's the same argument, Ivan, I'm having with Mac Jones. Like, are you what? This guy, I don't give a crap who he plays with, how talent. Watch the tape.
Well,
I'm going to show you.
That was going to be my point, Phil, is, watching you guys, like watching football like I watch football. Are they seeing that? Like if let's say they do go ahead and make a splash and they try to jump up and they sell the farm to try to take whoever it is at the top, try to get one of the top 5 here right now. Where are they missing with the tape? Like have they done their all their homework? Do we trust Ryan Pace to have done his due diligence with every single quarterback? Because like you said, You have Mitch and you have Deshaun Watson. How the fuck do you miss that?
Again, I could see
Honestly.
you missing. I could see you missing on Mahomes, but there's just
Right.
he's just the eye test. This guy, not just okay. If he did it once, if Deshaun Watson did once, went to the national championship game once, okay, had 400 yards, okay. You say, okay, let me take a look at him. Let me go back and look at his college thing, because anybody can have a game. If you don't believe me, look up Timmy Smith. Okay, if you don't believe me, anybody can have a game. All right, You got a game. Okay,
exactly.
But he did it twice. Okay, and to get, first of all, he got back to the national championship game. Okay, and then did it again. So, I don't. It's amazing how,
and did it in a form of greatness where he just got plastered and beat up and picking himself up off the ground, because Alabama went out there to set the tone and kill him, if you remember correctly.
Second, yeah.
And for him getting those shots, those free runs, and delivering every time, I just don't. It was like the biggest layup, and they still messed it up. It's baffling. But then you add the context of what we're talking about. I know Shane gets ticky-tack with it. They met with him technically. Watson lied about it because they met with him at the scene or whatever.
Yeah, because they had the Senior Bowl. Because remember, they were down. They had but it's just meeting with him and bringing him in and taking him out to dinner, doing your due diligence. Like all three of those quarterbacks, hell, even all four of them, because Deshaun Kaiser was in that draft class too, and he was.
They met with him.
Mm-hmm. All four of them should have had the exact same treatment if you're doing your due diligence.
And same with this one, with all these quarterbacks. They should be doing it, because I believe, like my partner Shane, that they are going to try to move up to number 4 or number 6. In fact, they're leaking out that they've tried to move up to the Carolina Panthers at 8 already. So that's obviously leaked out there. So I don't know how much truth there is to it, but I do believe, based on what they were trying to do with Russell Wilson, that they're going to try to get up and get somebody that's fallen from the top 3. So that be at 4 or 5 or 6. Don't say never. I know a lot of fans hate the conversation. Well, it's over. It's this. No, you have to learn from the history of what your GM has done. And when he gets this show or hears this from somebody, energetically, I believe we're making a difference because he's having to hear it and not make that same mistake. That's the only way I could go into this, because if Davis Mills is your guy, right? And Mel Kiper and Joe Schmo Blow and PFF have him as a 2nd or 3rd round grade, but you believe in that guy and your scouts and you've done it and you sit down, he loves the game, then you got to take that guy. The quarterback position is the most important position in all of sports. You don't just say that shit and not practice it. You have to do it. So listen, everything should be on the table in regards to the quarterback position here in Chicago. And you can't keep doing the same thing where empty promises about this position, and you can't analyze it the same way either. You have to learn from your mistakes. You didn't meet with Deshaun Watson. You didn't take him out in the town. You didn't do that. And
you didn't get a massage.
Yeah. And you got Andy Dalton here. That doesn't exclude you from the quarterback conversation.
Here's my issue though, Phil.
Yes.
Okay. So they got to get a quarterback in the first round. Okay. Because if you don't, okay, so now what are you going to do moving forward? Because if you draft a quarterback in a second or anything less, even the second round is going to be a big drop off. But if anything in the 3rd or 4th, don't get why that's your quarterback in the future? No. So now do you have to sign Andy Dalton again? Do you have to sign him again? For me, it made much more sense to re-sign Mitch. You didn't have to sign him with his 50-year deal. You declined it, but you could have signed him to something else. But that ship, because of the friction there that Matt Nagy had, he's gone. So now you got to bring in a guy who's new to the system. Granted, he's a vet, but he's new to the system. And then with the COVID protocols, you just saw the fact that the Bears are one of 8 or 10 teams that aren't participating in voluntary workouts. So now he's going to lose a chance to bond and to get some chemistry with this team. So if you don't draft a quarterback in the first round, now you're going into 2021 with Andy Dalton on a 1-year deal, okay, with a second or third or fourth or whatever round quarterback as your future. That's not going to go over very well. And then you have Nick Foles still back, right? He's not your future. And the quarterback position still isn't addressed because Andy Dalton is a stopgap. Okay, and he's a decent stopgap, but we're looking big term. We're not trying to get a quarterback for 1 year. And quarterbacks and wide receivers and offensive lines and run games, they don't gel in 1 year. They may have a good season, but the true potential of the quarterback running that offense is never realized in 1 year.
I agree, and you're right. That's why Shane is saying what he's saying, that they're gonna move up. He believes
have to.
Yeah, you're caught in this predicament of being mediocre because you have hired mediocre people that are in football decisions. And forget Deshaun Watson neglect. You're talking about a GM that was never a GM, a coach that's never been a head coach. And this is the decisions that your owner, George McCaskey, with Ted Phillips leading him. I don't care what anybody or they try to say in that way. You can't lead a horse to water and make them drink. You as an owner, George, need to do the right thing. Get rid of the accountant, Millhouse, and get someone in here that understands football and is going to clear this shit up because the quarterback position has been neglected. You're a joke. You're a pun all around the NFL in regards to what it is you're doing. And granted, I'm not being disrespectful to Andy Dalton. I think he's going to be better than anybody believes he's going to be. That's my truth. The reality is, to Shawn's point, you have nothing built up in credentialing your football operation to a young passer. You fucked up in taking Mitch. You messed up by not taking Watson or Mahomes. That's truth, fans. If you don't want to continue to hear it, then maybe you're cheering for the wrong team because historically they've done things stupidly. And somebody, this network, my network, has to call them out. They have to get it right. They have to do the right thing. So if a guy is falling and your guy is there at 4, then you're going to have to give away the farm to finally get that position right. And it's going to be, unfortunately, Matt Nagy doing that. And to answer your question, it's going to cost them a lot. There's no doubt.
It'll cost that
this year,
probably four firsts.
Yeah, because first this year, a first next year, maybe a second and a third, whatever it is. Hopefully you keep your second and third this year. That would be my goal here because this is a deep offensive tackle draft. I like a lot of the guys on the offensive line in regards to this. So I want you to keep that second and third so you can build those lines. Don't worry about receivers and shit like that. I like the Goodwin pickup. Get the quarterback. That's what the goal should be.
Get it right. Get it right.
And then get that offensive tackle to come in here and play left tackle. Not put this guy at guard. Let him learn. No, make the competition known. Charles, you're on a short leash. That's why we went out to try to get Trent Williams. Even if it was just to show or placate the Tape Never Lies network. We went out to try to replace Charles Leno. Let's do that. Get a left tackle. Get a quarterback. Keep those picks. And unfortunately, it is what it is, guys. You can't say, well, they're not going to fire these guys next year. So they're going to have to set it up to potentially give away those first-round picks. And like you said, Shawn, on our show, he hasn't been good at first-round picks anyway. So if Matt Nagy's identified, and we could say this because historically he identified Mahomes as a generational talent, and he was right. He identified Deshaun Watson as a Pro Bowl type of player, and he was right. So hopefully he's going to get this position right and that they recognize that Coach Nagy is adamant about Justin Fields. And you go up there and you get Justin Fields, and that's where you go. I'll tell you right now, if it's Kellen Mond at 20, you are going to want to tune into our draft coverage because you're going to see me lose my mind in regards to that. Because once again, you're picking guys off of potential and not the tape.
You know, you would think that he's learned, and this is where self-scouting comes in, and you know, you think someone would learn. Okay, 3 out of 4 of your guys are not here. So the first round picks, let's do something different. The time that you picked, if this draft is uneventful for the Bears, I will be extremely happy because we're expecting them to pick an offensive tackle, okay, or a quarter. Or, for say at 20, I'm expecting. I'm not getting a quarterback at 20. Who do we have that's going to be a difference maker at 20? So if we stay at 20, then give me an offensive tackle. Give me some big jamuck.
If they draft a corner, Shawn, then we got the wrong. I'm going to lose my mind again.
Right.
You're drafting again to replace the free agent. You already had a corner
that
he
you
was top
signed.
3.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's Fuller. You let him go.
Yep.
So now you're going to draft to cover that pothole that you created. That's the same bullshit organization we've seen
that he's
forever.
done since he's been here.
So get rid of that clown.
So I don't know. Give me an offensive lineman. And truth be told, Phil, I'm okay if they draft an offensive lineman in the first and the second round.
I
am more than okay with that. Andy Dalton's good. Okay. And I think Nick Foles has another year. But I mean, even so, like, give me an offensive line because what quarterback? Because then you can re-sign Andy Dalton again. Okay. You can send another veteran quarterback, go after your quarterback next year and have him finally get in a system and have someone in front of him. So you're going to have to pay for another veteran quarterback would be another $10 or $15 million for the first year for a 1-year deal. But let him watch a professional quarterback run the system and say, okay, here's what he did right. I need to emulate that, but I can also put my own flavor. I could put my twist on it with being a little more athletic and being a lot younger, probably maybe a little stronger arm. Who knows? But it's important. And again, we've talked about this before. And people keep forgetting. Quarterbacks didn't play when they were rookies. Back when they were, unless the team was horrible, like the Colts. You know, like the Buccaneers when they drafted Steve Young. You know,
Troy Aikman had to go in.
Had to.
Yeah.
Okay. You sat for a year or two, or in Aaron Rodgers' case, 3 years behind Brett Favre. Okay. You sat, you learned, you watched because you weren't ready. And now, you know, with the new CBA, you know, the 4-year deal and a 5th-year option, they try to get them on sooner. People get them in sooner, but to me, it's not smart football. Give you an apprentice period, okay, so you can learn. And
I'm with you, man.
And teams can expect a lot more from a quarterback.
Real quick, if you can't get up to number 4 or wherever, a quarterback could drop. We don't know no one knows how the draft is going to go. If you can't get up there, you got to take offensive linemen and do the plan that you're setting up. I'm totally with you. In fact, our mock draft that Shane and I did, we're going to be doing another one this Sunday with Barlissimo too on Draft Mob. Our mock that we did, Shane and I alone, we took 2 offensive tackles and a center in the 3rd round. So we went OT center. And we rebuilt the whole line knowing that all those quarterbacks were gone and we had to do what was best for your organization based on you. You can't make a miracle happen and just let's just draft Kellen Mond at 20. Maybe he'll get it. That's not how this stuff works. You got to build the line. You need a whole attitude adjustment on this offensive line. Needless to say, get some talent on top of it. Some people, I'm not that guy that sees Darnell Mooney and said, wow, I know this guy's awesome, and he is, and I don't then go and get more receivers. I'm not that. Okay, we got Alex Barr. Sam Mustipher showed us a little something. James Daniels is coming back, Phil. We should be good. No, the goal should be great offensive line will dictate your future and get you to the point where you're wanting to go, because ultimately, like you said, Shawn, it's next year that you'll be drafting a quarterback and deciding on who's going to be is it going to be Andy Dalton coming back? That's how you should do it. You shouldn't force this situation. So those are the only 2 moves if the Bears stand pat and pick a corner or safety at 20, I am going to lose my mind. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Phil, great stuff,
Yes.
buddy. I appreciate it, man. Every week you come on and you bring it like I know you do, man. Do me a favor, though, let everyone know where they can find you and your work online.
Yep. Follow me on Instagram right there at Phil_Otoshin. Rhymes with lotion, Kenneth. You can find me there on Instagram and sign up to become a patron right there. Look at this guy, Ivan. He's on top of it. TheTapeNeverLies.com. We have pop-up shows, draft analysis on the Chicago Bears, heavy on the Bears, obviously, with that focus, breaking down tape, not stats and narratives. We go by the tape, go live. Ivan, you've been in the show, so you know, breaking down all 22 tape of these prospects, mock drafts, all next week will be live on our shows, breaking down and preparing you for the draft like nobody else when it comes to the Chicago Bears. So that's where you can find me.
Great stuff, Papa. And we'll talk next Friday, and we'll be talking about that first round pick.
Yeah, Shawn. Actually, I want you to come on. Maybe I could get you to come on the live show Thursday in the second or third round before we pick, and you can go over what the first round, what we saw.
All right, cool. We'll talk
right.
about it because I know we're going to go live too as well. It might just be for the first round. So if you're going to
it's just going to be that first day. Of the
so yeah, so Friday, next Friday night. So I'll go live on your show next week, and then Friday night we'll bring
Friday
you
day
on.
and then Friday night. Okay,
Yeah,
that works. Right? Yeah, that works.
I'm making schedules. All right, guys.
All right, man. Thanks a lot, buddy. We appreciate it.
God bless.
All right. Guys, we had a phenomenal show. 3 hours has come and gone. Unbelievable. I want to thank my guest, Aldo Soto, for coming on from Sports Mockery, talking Cubs, and obviously my man, the draft doctor himself, Phil Otoshin, for coming on talking Bears with us. I'm anxious. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm looking. It's a whole bunch of things when it comes to this organization and this front office. But man, I'm excited about it. Ivan, this weekend, what do we got?
Well, we got the Smoke Fellas coming up tomorrow, and then, like I said, I got to get ready for the next week's show. It's going to be a SportsZone's draft night, so I'm going to get a promo ready for this weekend and stuff like that, and then, plenty of sports, I'm sure.
Oh, awesome. All right, guys, I want to thank big shout out to our executive producer, Elliot Baez, our Clarence Council III, our social media guy, my co-host in absentia, Maya Akai, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say thank you and give a big shout out to my guy, Ivan Vargas. So for everybody, for Elliot, for Maya, for Clarence, and my guy, Ivan Vargas.
Hey, we'll see you guys next week. Like I said, check out the Smoke Fellas tomorrow, 11 to 1. This should be a good show. I think it might be on location. Again, I know last week they were in St. Louis. They were right outside Busch Stadium. It was awesome visuals for the show. I don't know if they're on the road again for this week, but it'll be fun to see. We'll let you know. We'll let you know come tomorrow.
All right, cool. Guys, I'm your boy, the Superback Shawn here. We're going to take a 69-hour break, and we'll see you again on Monday. Same bat time, same bat channel, 9 a.m. to noon, Central Standard Time. Okay, listen, make sure you download the app, SportsZone Chicago, wherever you get your apps from. Make sure you download it so you can take us on the go. Listen to us, listen to Sports 101, listen to Halitech Hall, listen to What's Up Cuz, and listen to the sports, to the Humidor podcast, Sports and Podcast with Smoke Fellas. Take us with you on the go. Now, guys, have a great weekend. I got 2 more words for you. We out.